Not?
He's just pointing at people like a game show.
No, I got my mic in my hand and I'm standing up on purpose because I am prepared.
He's channeling his inner Bob Barker.
He's ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, for the fight of the century.
Go for it.
He's not wrong.
I was waiting for you to keep going.
Yeah, I was waiting for you. I'm waiting.
Like, in one corner, we have the correct person, Master Shake. And in the other corner, everybody else who's lined up against remakes. All comers.
Oh, God.
One corner, all of the internet. The other corner, Dan.
Please. Like, if I went out that way, oh, my God. That's like my life's dream. Like, come on.
I'm questioning my entire existence sitting here in my blue shirt.
That's rough.
You should wait. First of all, cut back. Bring him back up big. Bring that man back up big.
Which one?
Jason, the one who just said he was.
Oh,
you're super stoned. Look at you. First of all, don't say a word. Don't say a word. Just listen to my words, my dulcet tones. You are a beautiful motherfucker, and don't you ever think otherwise, or I'll get mad at you and then tell you it'll be okay because you're my friend. I care about you. But stop that shit. You are the fucking man. Now.
Stop what? Yeah. I'm questioning everything because I fucking liked Nightmare on Elm Street a lot.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, bring up the next person. You want to do ratings now, and I'll just give everybody compliments.
Mick just rates everybody.
All right, hold up. You know what? That's fair.
Jason, they're not gonna kill me. They're gonna chew me out. I give the Nightmare on Elm Street remake an 8. Oh, ow, oh, it hurt. It hurt to say. I give it.
No, don't hurt. Love it. Embrace it.
I gave it an 8.
You love that shit.
I have reasons.
Oh,
you hold those reasons.
It's gonna be good.
It's the 4th best in the franchise.
Right. Don't say anything yet. I don't want your ranking yet. Look at this motherfucker right here. This chill, beautiful, short-haired motherfucker right here. This guy looks so pretty that I can't. My eyes hurt right now. My eyes are hurt. Look at that chain. Oh,
right.
I am biting my knuckle right now. That's how sexy you are. Wow. Give us your rating. Hey, Poppy, give us your rating.
8.5.
Whoa, I love it. All right, next one. Let's get these compliments. Oh, my God. I can't even right now. I can't even. Look at this motherfucker right here. Not only is he all decked out in beauty, right? He's got it everywhere. We know who he's a fan of, and we are not going to argue it tonight. Here's the thing. Look at this motherfucker right here. This is Dan, the man, Master Shake, kicking ass, taking names, and smashing all of the competition.
All of it.
What is your rating, sir?
9.
Ooh.
I owe him like apologies, like to the 10th power.
I know. We'll get there. All right, who's next?
Look at this guy.
That fuck right here.
Oh, that's it. Jesus,
man,
come on.
So beautiful.
Show that shaved head, though. Mick looks good with his shaved head. Look at that.
No, because I got to give it to Chris. Chris had the idea first. I just tagged along on it, so I don't want to take any credit on that. Chris is the good-looking one with no hair. Me, I kind of look. Man, oh my God. Anyway, I look like Stephen Amell if he ate John Cena.
Wow. Wow.
But the fatty part.
But you still have to be an arrow. Which means I'll be the black guy.
Still get bitches. Let me just say that.
Are you the black? Are you my eventual not Green Lantern Sturdy? Is that what it is?
Yeah, and if Chris can be the Spanish guy. I know there's a Spanish guy on there jumping
There's
around.
always a Spanish guy. Actually, the Spanish guy on that show was Spanish from old school, so it's even funnier.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Jason,
you probably know how to fix shit too.
You're my sexy computer person. What's her name? I can't remember. You're just sexy.
What the fuck's her name?
And Dan is the fucking millionaire right there. That's the one.
I don't know about that.
Because he looks like $1 million. Boom. I did it. I got it. All right.
Felicity.
My rating.
Felicity.
That's her name. Yeah. She's gorgeous. And I'm sure very intelligent, smart, wonderful, and a beautiful human being inside. But
I wouldn't carry the way.
You know how actually there is a connection with Arrow in this movie.
I know exactly which one you're gonna make. And honestly, I liked her on that show. I thought she did a really good job, but this is her best performance in my opinion. So not taking anything away from her, and we'll get into that when I'll let you announce that. But like, she was my favorite character in this movie.
Announce her right here. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You do it.
Don't be shy. Go ahead.
Well, she played Dina Lance in Arrow. I can't remember the actor's name at the moment. She was also in Supernatural. She did a great job too. She played the original Ruby. Up and comer, like, but I haven't seen her or anything lately, but she's a good actor. I like her. So my rating for this, and I'm gonna get my rating, but I only want to say one thing without getting in depth until we get there.
Oh,
I haven't seen this in about 10 years, and I stood on my initial watch. Actually, I watched it twice in that time. Both those watches, I just didn't like it. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but my rating for this movie,
here we go,
is a 9.
I know it hurts, doesn't it?
Nice.
You're goddamn right.
I was going a little conservative, actually.
And
it's awesome.
I want to add that I think
Looks like he's gonna cry.
it kind of hurts a little bit to say this.
He's having chest pains too.
He's got acid reflux from this shit.
I'm having a hard time. It's. I could argue it's the second best in the franchise.
Ooh, that's
Hey, I'm turned on.
I
That's
agree.
saying something.
I
Wow.
agree.
Now we're saying something. Now I don't know, Mick, but now we're saying something.
And it doesn't hurt me to agree with Dan because I like Dan a lot, and his opinions are really good. So we agree about a lot of things, not Jaws. We did not agree about this movie, but I have rewatched Jaws since you talked to me, and I'm telling you, I'm never going to fall on that.
Jurassic
Get me off the screen. Why am I on?
I
feel like I'm
I have
like.
a theory on why audiences didn't like this movie.
Oh, Sturdy.
Oh man.
Same, Jason. I love it.
I love that hoodie, Sturdy. Where'd you get
Thank
that?
you. I forgot what the store is called, like Prime or Primo or something. It's in this mall up here. The wife got it for me, and then I went there and grabbed like every other Freddy vs. Jason thing they had there. So same with Mick. I haven't seen this movie in fucking years. I don't remember the last time I seen this movie. I know I watched it in theaters once, and then maybe 1 or 2 times after that. It's definitely better than what I remember. I could say that. I can honestly say that. This is rough. But I'm gonna have to give it an 8. I'm gonna have to give it a solid 8.
Oh, that's a big one.
Dude.
Really,
Dirty giving this movie anything above a 5 is shocking.
Okay, so I'm going to get right into it because I'm watching this movie, and one of the things that we've talked about with all of the Freddy movies so far is that we are rooting for somebody we should not be rooting for. Like, we love Freddy Krueger, and in this movie, they make it impossible for you to love Freddy Krueger.
You do not root for Fred. Fred is not your man in this movie.
No,
They glossed over that child murderer thing real hard in the original series. In this one, not so much.
No, they connect it. This movie is so well written. They connect it very, very well that it's the parents, and you see that Freddy, it was their kids, like directly their kids. Like, we get to see these kids and what Freddy actually did to them in this movie. So I think a lot of the reason audiences walked away not liking this movie is because it made us question things within ourselves. Like, oh my God, is this the guy we've been rooting for this whole time? Like, this movie makes you feel about rooting for Freddy Krueger for 7 movies prior because this movie is so well written. It's so good. I can't even believe I'm saying that. Mick and I were both dreading it. We were texting each other before we started the movie this morning. And I'm telling you, this movie, I agree with Mick. It might be the second best movie. It might be tied for first. There's arguments for that because of how well it's written. Like, they did such a good job of really showing you what kind of sick fuck Freddy was. And they even threw in the element of maybe the kids were lying to kind of just throw you off your game very briefly. That
They even feel like you're feeling that slight bit of ooh, right? But then they take it away right, like they just rip it away too. And Jackie Earl Haley, you hate him.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Freddy was mysterious and then became funny. So you were like, you don't hate him because you're like, okay, he was a child killer, but you don't all you heard was that.
Yeah.
You don't see it, and other than when they're teenagers, and you're usually a teenager when you watch this first time anyway, so you're like, oh, it's just like trying to kill me. I'm not a kid, that's not child murder. This one, yeah, Jackie Earle Haley, I see how he played it differently, and that he is playing. First off, I love that he is manipulating through the whole thing. Oh, I didn't do this. Oh, your parents killed me. Like leaving.
That's what a bad guy would do. That's what a bad guy would do.
Yep.
And repressed memories. What a nice touch.
Oh, and it goes back to blaming the parents, and they even have that little hypnosil twist. Like,
yep. And it makes sense. Oh my god, I can't believe I like this movie so much. I'm not watching this more often.
I'm not even mad that I like it. I still don't like the look of Freddy, and that's what I think that's the biggest thing. Honestly, I think that's bigger than what you said, Jason. But steer people a lot.
Here's my argument. Here's my argument for that. He looks more realistic in this.
Yeah, he looks.
My brother said the same thing. My brother said the same exact thing, but it's just, you know what it is, because I'm so used to, but just like everybody else is, I'm so used to the original look or looks of Freddy, because I know there was different looks throughout the movie, but you know what I mean. Basically, the basic look. Everybody's so fucking used to that, so that's like my look for Freddy. Yeah. And I get it with Jason. Obviously, masks. Yes, some of the masks change up, but he still has the masks at least. And I know he has the sack in one movie, but just to throw that out there real quick. But that's my
Sackhead might be the scariest, Jason. Sackhead might be the scariest.
Because like even watching this,
Unstoppable Killing Force Jason isn't worse than Hillbilly Overalls Jason. I can kill it.
Okay, like since we're talking about the remakes,
right?
The remake Friday the 13th.
Yeah, he didn't run in any of the
Friday the 13th.
I'm afraid of anyone who can run. Because I can't outrun you, so I got to fight you.
Yeah, that's it. So what I love about Sackhead and the remake Friday the 13th, Jason, both, man, is that a scary motherfucker.
I mean, he was fucking huge in this one. And he moved. Yeah. Like that's what makes somebody truly terrifying. If they have substantial heft to them and they can move themselves, they're dangerous. You know what I mean?
Well, the only thing I want to add to that too is compared to the original and having watched all of the Nightmare on Elm Street with Robert Englund and to see the different portrayals he put into each, I do take back one thing. The most realistic is still 1984 because he was so dark on him, and it looked like it was hanging off.
Don't you think that's lighting, Mick? Don't you think that's just cheap?
That
lighting?
Is like don't get me wrong, lighting and the deli.
Well, I mean, of course, it's cheaper than whatever 2010 could bring.
Yeah,
they're gonna have a bigger budget, but I liked that. I enjoy good lighting, and that was good lighting because it was dark on him, but that was the Freddy he played.
Yeah,
he played the mysterious. Like he was the killer. We knew he was the killer. He's not trying to manipulate them. He's just trying to fuck with them and kill them. This one, I love that they changed it up. And, I didn't like so much the fact that they were playing the twist of like, he didn't do it. And then like, you find out he did do it. I didn't realize the Pied Piper thing the first time. I didn't realize, I didn't know that the first time when he came out of the pool, he thought the parents had something to do with it, but all the tie-ins and everything, I was like, you really contain this story to a point where it makes sense. It was too big in the original.
Yeah.
This contained it to like 5 or 6 families or something like that. And they all had the secret. The only thing I would, and now it's not a perfect movie or anything. I mean, there's problems with it too, but they did a really good job on it. And yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. They threw out the notion of him getting off on a technicality in this one, but give you that same play on it because of that innocence they try to throw in there, because technically in our law system, we're innocent until proven guilty. This time, they didn't even give him a chance to get to that point. They just took the matter into their hands, went after him, and took the action. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's where you're like, man, maybe this is why he's coming back, because he really didn't do it. And not for nothing, it kind of would have been a cool twist if they would have showed that somebody else
That's
did
Robert Englund's script, Chris.
Robert
Englund's actual script is to revisit it, and he didn't do it.
That would have been perfect, because then you see that somebody else did it, and now why he's the evil entity that's coming back for revenge. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what? I was wrong. I'll make a deal with the devil to get my retribution, my vengeance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of like this better though. I do like that. If they did a Robert Englund version and did that, that could be cool, because there's like a whole rich history to it to go back. In this version though, I like that he did do it and he was that guy, and that he was manipulating them to scare them more so he could finish the job and get the parents too.
Yeah, and the instead of the parents saying, "Oh, you're just crazy, you just need to get some sleep," I like the repressed memory aspect of it. Like, Freddy's not real; you're just remembering something that happened to you when you were younger, and it's causing these problems. And if this movie had Robert Englund in it, I know everybody's always like Jackie Earle Haley was the best part of this movie, but I'm saying this now: if this movie had Robert Englund in it, given the exact same performance, nobody would have questioned this movie's quality. We would all be talking about how great the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street was.
You know, the two biggest things about the image of Freddy that I think was most jarring for most people was the shape of Jackie Earle Haley's face versus the shape of Robert Englund's face, which certain details are accentuated with the cheekbones and the pits on his. So then they did that with CG too to make it seem like he had holes in his face. And I don't know if you guys noticed, because I was watching the Blu-ray, there was actually 2 spots where they fucked up the CG on it, and you can tell the spot was a different color and it had a green tint to it. And then another side where he was looking from a different angle, the cameras looked, and it almost looked like they were trying to make it like his cheek face was hanging off, but it looked distorted and pixely, and it was fucked up. But I think the kind of, I don't want to call him rat faced, but he does have kind of a more angular,
he's angled,
with his
way more angled,
up than Freddy does. So he comes across more of that more like snivelly, like ratty guy. You know what I mean?
Like a child molester.
Like he had a white van.
Yeah.
Like he had a white van.
You want to know what really it might piss some people off in this? I think they did the bathtub scene better.
They did that better. They did the blood coming out from when he kills the chick in the bed. But there's so many little throwbacks to this, like her jersey and all these little things about this movie, and to what Jason was saying about the writing. It's a testament to how great the writing is, because I wonder often if this is more in tune and more in line with what Wes Craven really wanted to do, and perhaps that the studios were like, hey, we got to get it out, just let's make it work and let's pump these out year to year. Because when you start thinking about how much Wes Craven put into the notion of the psychoactive side of it, right, the psychology side of it, and the sleep deprivation, this plays that off to a fucking T. Imperfection with the micro naps, what it does to you if you don't get enough sleep for too long, and you can slip into a coma, like
up to 70 hours, right?
So past 70 hours you start doing the micro naps and all that stuff, but I just feel like that's more of what Wes Craven was really trying to go for, especially knowing where the story came from the overseas story of people dying in their sleep or whatnot. And then I don't know if anybody knows this either in the credits or not, but it's funny that we mentioned CW actors, but there's also a bunch of people in the production team that were part of both these movies, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they do a great job with both of these movies. And that's why I never understood why people gave this one such a bad fucking rep.
It's mean. They didn't like how mean it was.
But at the same time, man, like there's more to it than that. And for me to be watching this, I connect really quickly with that psychoactive part of it. And it's like, bro, this is the scary part of Freddy. It's not that he looks burnt. It's not the hat. Yes, he's got terrifying gloves and he knows how to fuck with you. But the notion of you can't escape him. And if you do try, you only fall into his laps forever.
I almost want to argue the point that it was because it was meaner. Because I would still argue that the deaths are more horrific and better in the original.
Really?
And I know we're not comparing the original to this, but I just want to say, because it is a remake, I think the deaths are better, way more memorable. Like, I have a hard time remembering what the deaths were in this, but because it just were kind of insignificant, except unless they propelled the story, which I liked about Kellen Lutz's death in the beginning. So just to get that out of the way, that's probably my favorite.
The diner kill?
Yeah, because just why he did it and how it ended playing into it and what it meant for everyone else to see that and like spark everything. right there. Like so, like that because there's no real memorable kills in it. You know,
No, you don't think so?
no, sorry, I thought it said, "Oops, something went wrong." Trying to reload this page.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I didn't get
I was like,
kicked
but
out.
you don't think there was memorable kills in this one?
Not really, not like the original.
But you just said they did.
I don't
They
disagree with
did
that
them
either.
better than the original, didn't you?
No, I said the original did the kills better.
Oh, I thought you said this one did the kills
I don't
better,
think-
like it perfected the
so
kills.
I
Because that's
also
what I
think-
would argue. I would argue that this one perfected the kills.
Oh no, I
I
disagree
just don't
with
like the fact that they use CG for it.
So in a movie like Friday the 13th, and that's the other part about the remake of Friday the 13th, I'd argue, the kills matter a ton.
Yes.
I don't think the kills matter in Nightmare on Elm Street.
I agree.
With the
I feel
original?
the same way.
So here's the like my favorite parts of Nightmare on Elm Street have nothing to do with the kills and everything to do with the sequence. The kill is just like, so it's kind of like this. What does it matter? Like, I'm going to put it like sex. What does it matter in sex? The entire act leading up to when, you know, or the
I'm in for the journey, bro. The end is the icing on the cake.
the
It's the
end's
cherry
just
on
like,
top.
so if the kill is good, great. But if you watch that original one, the best parts, like think about the stage whisper scene, Mick. The stage whisper scene, right? Like that's a highlight of that film. The sequences, and that's why, you know, Sean Cunningham is not a master of cinema, you know, but my man Wes Craven is.
Yeah.
The sequence matters, not the kill. The kill, like to a certain extent, I don't even ever think Freddy wants to kill them.
Really?
I think that Freddy's ultimate goal in everything that he does, my biggest thing that I take away from it is this. I think that Freddy loves his, like,
torment, his hunt.
yeah. And so my favorite part of the remake then, he wants her forever.
Yeah. So he was trying to keep her up.
Now they drew that. You guys have all watched the documentary, The Coma Pit.
Yeah. Okay. So that's from the next one we're gonna watch, right?
Yep.
Freddy vs. Jason.
Yep.
Where they
You
have
know,
the
and that's it.
coma
So
kids.
the idea of the kills being anything more than getting to finish at the end of sex. That's what it is. Everything else is so much more enjoyable because it's the buildup. It's everything that adds into it. So there's my argument for that. I think that
The finish. I'm just saying though, just busting a nut is amazing, man. Like, the build up and the fucking and all that good shit.
And
all
that's why
shit in
Sturdy's a
between.
bigger fan of Friday the 13th, I think.
Sturdy's just like, I just want to come. Like, let's go.
No, I do.
I was avoiding saying that word, Jason. Did you see
enjoy-
how hard I avoided saying that word?
I agree. I enjoy the whole. I love the whole aspect of it, but I also love the finish aspect of it too. But just boom, you know.
I get what you're saying, Dan. I just
get what you're saying.
I guess if you do think about it, it's always the same, right? He kills them somehow with his 4 blades going into them, where Jason uses different tools. So it's cool to see how it's going to impale the body or affect the body. And I get that. So perhaps maybe it would have been acceptable had they kind of reversed roles in some aspects where you see the build up, the torment, but then the kill is off screen and you just see the blood splat. I guess that still could have worked too, but I'm not mad that we get to see him, you know, rip people apart.
I am
Wait,
going to
he's
say
hanging
something.
Dean. Is it Dean?
Uh-oh.
Not Dean. The other guy, the guy that goes to jail. When he
I don't know.
fucking gets him, he comes up behind him, puts his hand through him, and then fucking he's dead on the jail floor. And then you go back to Freddy's world, and he's hanging upside down. He's like, "Did you know the brain still functions for 6 minutes after the heart stops beating, or for 7 minutes? That means we have over 6 minutes to play."
That's why he.
like-
so his thing is just like.
No, but that's the thing. Like the kills to me aren't better. It's I agree with the psychological torture of it. It definitely they amped it up. I like that. But I'm going to say something controversial here.
Uh-oh.
I don't really say this out loud, especially to horror fans, because I just feel like I'm going to get the vitriol.
Uh-oh.
Friday the 13th and this series, this franchise, not the remakes, but the originals, have influenced horror movies more than probably any other horror movies. Here's what I mean. Because most of the movies we get in horror, like from the turn of the century up until the 70s.
Exactly. Daddy chill.
It's kind of an easy watch. And I know this because Destiny is rewatching every horror movie ever by year in chronological order. And she showed me her list, and I was like, yeah, there was like nothing. I can do that, no problem, in a year. And then like the 80s, of course, hit, and it's just nothing but horror. Like it's thousands and thousands and thousands of horror movies all the time. And let's face facts. When you think about the majority of horror movies, the only other movie I would put as influential as these two to the way we write horror movies, the way we make horror movies, is probably Night of the Living Dead.
Psycho.
I was going to say, what about Psycho?
Psycho is influential in pushing the horror genre forward, but it still took years to get there. Halloween sparked it to create this stuff, but it's the tropes, it's the cliches, it's everything that these two movies truly made famous in them.
Well,
that is really what everybody else started copying, and it just, like the Upside Down, just started spiraling all over. It just went everywhere. So I would argue that, because let's face facts, like we had Halloween 2, both good movies. We had Halloween 3, which is completely different. Then it was like, what, 5 years before we got another Halloween movie? Like Halloween as a franchise influencing how we make horror movies, like what the story is we're telling, and the kills and all the gore and everything. It was not that. Halloween, if I'd say, copied Jason and Freddy to keep going forward.
Okay.
So that's why I say that. Now, when I say they're the most influential, are they the best? No, I'm not saying that.
Mm-mm.
I'm just saying
Freddy's the best franchise. I just want to say that. I'll say that. I'll say that right now. And Freddy's the best franchise. Come on.
I don't agree. I think Friday is in the horror.
I think so.
If we're not counting Universal Monsters as well.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing that as well.
Right, Kiki, you'll go home in a body bag.
We didn't talk about how great Rooney Mara is as Nancy.
She's phenomenal.
Yeah,
she did pretty good.
Like what I didn't understand when this came out, fellas. I go to see this in the theater, of course, like day zero, right? I'm there, 8 o'clock. I got out of, what year it came out? 2009?
Yeah.
2010.
Well,
so I get out of work. It's Thursday. I get out of work. I go home. I have dinner. I go to the midnight showing.
Is somebody weird, sexy moaning?
No, it's a dog, man.
Oh,
dog.
all right. Well,
It's not my dog.
right.
Whose dog is it?
I mean, if that's what gets you on.
But
It's
it
my
is
wife's dog over here.
Tally doesn't do that. Tally just kind of does this weird dinosaur noise.
Listen, I said sexy. I don't know why everybody's getting all bent out of shape.
If that's
But
what you're
so
into,
I go to
make
see
it
this
up,
at the midnight showing, and I walk out, and of course, every time I walk out of movies, I listen to people. I love to listen to what people say when they walked out, and everybody was hating on it hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, everybody that's walking out is wrong. First of all, they saw the movie wrong.
Agreed.
The least humble thing I've ever heard.
No, I don't care, Mick, because
I love it.
They sat down and they watched this movie, and I talked about it before we started. Nightmare on Elm Street is not a slasher franchise. It's not. Period. End stop. Everybody wants to compare body counts with Freddy. That is not what it's about at all.
I don't think that's what it was supposed. I disagree. I don't think that's what it was supposed to be about in Wes Craven's mind. But it did turn into that. I
think originally in Wes Craven's mind, it was a warning about suburbia. and about how parents and children operate, which this remake really touches on. My favorite thing in the world is that the worst thing about the movie isn't necessarily Freddy, it's the parents, which is what Wes Craven went with in the first place.
You and all your tennis buddies just decided to go take action on your own.
The second part is, and I love this about the franchise. My favorite part about 3, 4, 5, it's black humor. Black humor. You're not supposed to laugh, but you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Black humor. And so you go in to watch this movie and people wanted to, like, I don't know, have a body count, or like what they didn't want was a complete mirror on your white bread, privileged, suburban piece of shit life, where you're sitting there and your little children that you think are the perfect Polly princess, and you would do anything in the world to make sure that they were safe. And sometimes you push it a little bit too far, and suddenly you have to start, because the people went to go see it were our age, right? What were we doing? We were becoming parents.
I wasn't.
Well, but like that's
I'm
our
kidding.
age, right?
Right,
Everybody
right.
everybody that grew up watching Freddy was now in their mid to late 20s, right? This was targeted at us, and they did it right too. The problem is that we are weak sons of bitches, and we went in there, and when the mirror was turned on us, we ran away like just absolute pansies.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I just, like I said, we were all used to rooting for Freddy Krueger, and the 2010 movie makes it impossible to root for Freddy Krueger. There's not an ounce of happiness, like good, in there at all. And you know, he's licking Nancy's face, and that entire scene has a much more powerful punch when you know that she's one of the girls that's doing the jump rope, and Freddy was in her school and had a dungeon down below. Like the other movies did not have those emotional beats.
Listen,
kind of doing that. Freddy versus Jason did that just this much. He's got a pin down. He says, "I've always had a thing for girls in this house," and you're like, "Wait, are they gonna go full tilt with this?" But Robert Englund brings it up multiple times when he's in interviews. The thing that you see with Freddy and Nancy constantly, is he going to kill her or is he going to fuck her?
Yeah.
The difference is in the 80s, and originally Wes Craven in 3, and I have 3. I love 3. I think 3 is the best of the franchise. I love the message of it, the empowerment, and that's what it really is. It's empowerment for young people. That movie is all about empowerment. Love it. Wes Craven's original idea apparently was really fucking dark.
Really?
Like, according to what everybody says, Wes Craven's original viewpoint was like this spiral down, much like this remake, where you go back to, wait a second, Freddy is not the guy jumping out at the pool party saying, "You're all my children now," like he's a witch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I love 2. Don't get me wrong. I think 2 is vastly underrated. I love the metaphor. But I don't think people could handle the truth of what the movie is. And that's why I don't think it's a slasher. I mean, he's just not a slasher.
I'm going to go find this thing, because now that we bring that up again, I got to find this
Freddy, all the Freddy movies, the only good Freddy movies are when he's a message.
I think he's a message in each one.
No, I disagree. I don't think he's a message in 4, 5, or 6. I think he's comic relief. I think there's themes in it and there's messages in it. But like you said, the message and it was about Freddy. That's the thing. 4, 5, and 6 were about Freddy. 1, 2, and 3.
He was the protagonist. You're right about that. He's 4, 5, and 6. He's the protagonist. Yep.
Wes Craven's New Nightmare. It's not about Freddy. And I think that's that. And I agree with you in what you're saying. And I love your take on 3. And it's fucking me up that for so long I've been saying this movie sucks. This movie sucks, because I was one of those people who came out. I'm going to fully admit it and say I thought it sucked because I am a purist horror fan original, and I just have to say it straight up. These are good. I like the Friday the 13th remake. I like this remake. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, I may not have disagreed with it in the first place or whatnot, about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003. It is the best movie in the franchise.
Oh, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake that's a top 20 horror movie of all time.
Yeah, that's the remake is the best in the franchise, and I'm standing by that. And I mean the
Although
one.
I have a soft spot for the Next Generation. So.
Oh, I mean, listen. I still love a lot of them, but for the same reason I still
wait a second.
4 or 5.
Jason gave a look like he hasn't seen it, Mick.
I've seen it. I don't like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I do agree that the remake is the best. And the original.
That movie sets a blistering pace if you rewatch that movie. That remake from the time where that camera, what a beautiful camera shot, Mick. Yeah. It does that zoom in through the fucking bullet hole.
It's
and that movie sets a blistering pace after that.
Yeah.
I will say, so the reason why this is, I say that the Nightmare remake, out of the remakes, to rank them, you got Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think the Friday the 13th remake is better than the Freddy remake.
I actually, I know we're getting into it. Just to finish 2 quick points, and to piss off some horror fans. I don't want to hear anybody bitching and moaning about how great the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre is, myself included, because nobody was saying that out loud to horror groups in droves like they are now until Darcy the Mail Girl.
I did. I've been.
I believe you did, because you have weird takes on a lot of things.
I'm with you. I'm gonna say I'm right there with you,
Nick. You know what sold me? The sound that. So do you guys remember when previews mattered, right?
Yeah.
So the preview for the Texas Chainsaw remake used the whine of the flash bulb between scenes, and there was a Lacuna Coil song that played during the preview. From that time, I was team Texas Chainsaw remake, and then they did the shot. I think that shot through the bullet hole is just as influential. Do you remember how influential when they did the new Mad Max, and suddenly now everybody wants to set that same pace as that Mad Max movie? Like that zoom through the bullet hole. If you watch that movie from the second that happens, you don't get a breath. And I'm sorry, I don't, sometimes when people rate movies, I don't understand what people want out of a film. I watched all 3 of these remakes that we're talking about on the edge of my seat, cathartic and wanting more and wanting better. I did. The Friday the 13th remake is the best in the franchise. The Freddy remake is top 3. The Texas Chainsaw remake is the best in the franchise. They're good. They're good films.
I'll tell you exactly why now that all of those films and why Friday the 13th was liked the best, or said was the best. First off, that was the best because it was the most familiar out of all of them.
It was a rehash more than a remake.
Yep. Jason was being Jason throughout of it. I can make arguments that the rest of the cast didn't live up to the originals, but the Jason was being Jason. Derek Mears was great. We got to give him a lot of credit for it.
Oh yeah,
tall man. Wow.
To push it even further and to go and say, let's face facts, and I'm saying it myself too. We were that generation coming up that grew up with these movies, idolized these old movies, and came in, and now remakes are being announced and things are coming out. And when they're being announced, we're all like, as horror fans, yes, they're going to bring back my childhood. They're going to bring back my childhood. And when we went and saw every one of those movies, we didn't have the same feeling when we watched the originals. So automatically, it's deducted by 50% at least, it seems, to say, nope, this is not as good. They fucked it up.
I'm going to steal from Tim. Can I steal from Tim for a second, Mick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Give me more of what I like. You know what? Okay, to contrast, so Star Wars, for instance, right? I hate to bring it in, but the new movies did not give me more of what I liked.
No.
All of the remakes, with the exception, okay, I will say this. The Fog remake was a travesty. Hated it. But in large part just because I don't think it's a well-made film. you know. But most of the remakes, when I went to go see them, they did what Mick is talking about for me. I felt all of it, and I went home. God, when Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out, I pirated the fuck out of that film.
You know, it's something to what Mick's saying. You know, they don't, because I saw the remake, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre first, so I liked it quite a bit when I saw it in theaters. And then Amityville is another one that I absolutely loved, and I hadn't seen the original yet.
That movie is scary, by the way. Ryan Reynolds.
I like that movie.
Ryan Reynolds is back to horror.
And I went back and watched the original, and my hill that I'm going to die on is I think the Amity remake is better than the original movie.
I agree too.
Because it is. Ryan Reynolds is terrifying in that film.
I think the Platinum Dunes remake is way better.
Platinum Dunes didn't help.
I think we're fucking up Sturdy's whole program here. We got
sorry,
Sturdy.
No. The reason I'm saying that is because you're going to be doing this more, and I just don't want to give it to me.
Keep going, though. Keep going.
No.
I gotta watch that.
And I don't want to piss off any more horror fans.
I will it.
But
I want to piss off every horror fan ever.
Oh, what is this?
We have a good question right here.
You do when you say Jaws sucks. Do not start that. We'll do that on another thing.
Yeah, we'll save that.
What was everybody's movie which fucked them when they were younger? It's not to scare them today. It just hit them the hardest back then.
I can tell
mine
you.
is
Dark Crystal. Dark Crystal.
If it wasn't Nightmare on Elm Street or just the idea of Freddy Krueger, it was Chucky.
It was for me.
Right there with you, bud.
I watched the It miniseries, and I looked in my backyard, and there was a red balloon floating across the backyard. Like seconds after I finished the movie, I was up in my room for the rest of the night, scared to leave my bedroom.
Can I
change my answer?
Yeah.
Now, Dark Crystal as a child, which, by the way, parents, what were we doing in the 80s letting our kids watch these movies? But like Dark Crystal is terrifying. Like that's, oh my God, that movie for a child. Come on. But anyway, the first time I watched Alien for the first time when I was like 6 or 7. Do you guys remember when they have to crawl through the ducts and the like shutters of those ducts screech open because they like that like now Alien is the most terrifying movie ever made, but those shutters kind of screeching open because of the metal for whatever reason as a child. Did that mess me up? Like that was, I had nightmares about having to crawl through stuff where those eye shutters open up when when the captain's crawling through with the flamethrower. That part. Nice. That messed me up. That and Fire in the Sky, because I thought aliens were gonna abduct me. And
Fire in the Sky was crazy. Dude, Dan is in rare form. Dan has been on break from doing shows for a while, and he's like, I'm covering all my bases tonight.
Hey, go for it. Shit. I didn't even come on some more.
That's a good question. That's Unsolved Mysteries. I used to go upstairs after watching Unsolved Mysteries with my parents, and I thought the guys from the show were hiding behind my door.
Remember
Me too.
Unsolved Mysteries?
Me too, Dan.
Oh my God, every time. I agree with you. Or in my closet. But remember, it was what was it? What was the one? Most Wanted, America's Most Wanted. When they were just like, and he's still at large, and it's like, where? Where'd you show me?
Now, see that right there, more than horror movies, because that's the shit right there we were allowed to watch with your parents. You be watching that with your parents, and it's just like, hold up. So you won't let me watch a make-believe movie of someone killing people, but you'll let me watch this real life shit, and this motherfucker is still on the loose. I have no idea how far California is from Schenectady. I'm only 6, and I'm scared.
It might be in my backyard for all I know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
6-year-old Sturdy. 6-year-old Sturdy. I can just see him now like, what the fuck is California? Just staring at the TV.
Pulls out the map.
Yeah. That ain't going to mean shit to
All right,
me.
we're good.
Oh, man.
That's when he started paying attention to like Animaniacs.
That part in, so I know everybody dogs on Nightmare 6. You know that part where the deaf kid opens up the map.
Oh, I said this in that episode. That's my favorite line.
That's my favorite line from that movie.
Dude, that's my favorite line too. When you map says we're fucked. I love that line. So,
okay,
dude, I want to do a list of my top 100 movie quotes, and if you don't think that line's on there, and if you don't think Axel, you're making my dick itch. Is it on there?
No line ever can equal good, bad. I'm the guy with
the gun. I love
that.
it.
I mean, right there, man. That's
Love
signed,
it.
by the way. I don't know if I ever told you guys that. That's signed
That is awesome.
by Raimi and Campbell because I had friends that worked on Raimi's production crew.
Nice.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
But like, I guess back to the topic at hand.
Oh, excuse me.
Which one do you guys think? Because I've already said I think, even though I love the remake for Nightmare, which is better, Nightmare? Because that's what this is about, right, Sturdy?
Yeah, basically after the ratings and all that. Yeah, but I do want to answer this question too, though.
Oh,
for me, it was first movie I remember that scared me was Creepshow 2, Hitchhiker.
Yeah,
that shit. Thanks for the ride. That scared the literally scared the shit out of me almost. Like I had to be walked to the bathroom to go take a shit because I was too scared to go alone. And then went right back and watched the movie though, all the fucking time. But yeah,
that's why you host the show. That's why you're the king of fucking horror, my friend.
And it's something like I go back and watch now, and it's fucking hilarious. But Chaos, what about you? What scared you like that? What hit you hard like that back in the day?
Yeah,
and what about you, Chris? I don't think you answered that.
Freddy for me, like if the first one didn't do it, in Dream Child, for sure, that opening sequence with that fucking dungeon, all the maniacs getting the nun, fucking Freddy coming running out as the little baby that everybody gives shit about the animatronic on it or whatever, and then him being all deformed and coming back to flesh, and then it's a boy. I'm getting fucking chills right now. My hair's standing up.
Such a good
and everything. And I tell people this all the time. That scene and Chucky by itself, just the idea of Chucky, completely till I was like fucking 16 or 18, like was the biggest fear I ever had. My mom had these drapes on these big ass fucking windows we had in our living room. My bunk bed was in the next room. My bed was this way. The other bunk that was up top was this way. So I was on the bottom bunk. My brother's on the top bunk. I got a direct line of sight to the two windows with the floral print, all different red, blues and shit. And all I hear is little Chucky steps. Why? Because the day I decided to watch fucking Child's Play for like the first time by myself, my aunt comes over and coincidentally, because she didn't know, she brings me a My Buddy doll.
My buddy doll
that I'm scared to look at or touch, and it's nighttime, and all I hear is footsteps, and all I see is stained glass with a big black spot in between, waiting to see the big arms come out and say, "It's a boy, let's get him." Like, yeah.
That I would love to point out. Like, first off, I want to ask: do you still have the My Buddy?
Do I still have what?
The My Buddy.
Okay, so here's the story. So I became like 15, 16, and I was like, I'm overcoming this. I threw him down in the basement and threw him under the stairs. The stairs that go down to the basement, though, had slits in between each steps without a backing. So it's not like it was a sealed off step. So I would always get to the last like 3 or 4 steps and just jump it at some point because I started thinking start slicing my Achilles.
I did that when I first saw Candyman. I could not go to the bathroom for like a week. Like I was so fucking
like,
scared.
Mom, why the fuck there's got to be a mirror in here?
I was like 10 when it came out, and I'm like every time I'm like I can't. I would duck below the mirrors. Guys, you know, like only 2 years ago I wouldn't let it said on my show 5 times. Like, let's be real. So
Candyman.
I know, don't be a dick.
Candyman.
It's all right.
Bloody Mary and Candyman.
We don't need
the 2 biggest urban myths that scared the fuck out of me.
I'm going to say something. I'm going to say
Chupacabra. You could talk to me about Bigfoot. You could talk to me about killer arachnids. You
How about the Dogman of Michigan?
Candyman or Bloody Mary, my ass is out the second you say something. The second you try going, and it sucks too. The apartments we had, always the bathroom was right there by the front door, so you have to walk past the bathroom. Bro, one time I was walking by, my friends threw me in their fucking parents' bathroom. And they Italians, right? That were back in the 80s and 90s. Mirrors everywhere, golden shit everywhere, right? Bro, I'm surrounded by mirrors while they're all saying fucking Candyman, Candyman in pitch black. And I don't know where the light switch is.
That's 4 times. That's 4 times.
See the video? I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Did you ever see the video of the husband and the wife who are brushing their teeth? And he finishes and he's done, and she's still brushing her teeth, and she's like standing there, and he goes, Candyman, 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 come in, and turns off the lights and closes the door. And she's freaking the fuck out. It's
That's
amazing.
fucking hilarious.
That's awesome.
I got it. So I'm gonna piss horror people off. A,
And
Chucky is
My
0% scary. B, Candyman might be one of the most overrated horror movies of all time.
Get the fuck out of here.
I
just
now
still
that's
gotta
just
watch the new
crazy talk.
You're
I still gotta
crazy,
watch the
man.
new one to give you.
I'm
accurate-
sorry. I know people consider them classics, all that stuff, yada yada yada. That's a FYI. My wife and I, we sat there. She had never seen Candyman, never, and I respect it as a classic. So that isn't a like. And Mick knows the difference. That's a me like watching it. I'm bored out of my mind versus me watching it as like a cinemaphile. I recognize Candyman's achievements. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I was bored out of my mind watching it. My wife, who had never seen it and has become a horror fan, we get to the end and she says, "That's a classic?"
Dan, I'm not going to disagree with you. I don't think there's been a great Candyman or a good Candyman movie until the new one. The new one's the first one that I loved.
I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched it.
I love the original. But
I
I will
thought
say
the original
this:
was boring
Great fucking
too.
movie.
the original is such a slow burn.
It
But
is.
and I guess maybe I was young enough when I watched it. It did affect me. You know what I mean? Like being 10, like you're just more into the idea of when's this guy going to show the fuck up? This is terrifying.
Start killing,
You
yeah.
know?
But I was always the person playing. I played Bloody Mary, and when Candyman came out, I would lock people in the bathroom with me and say that stuff. Like I've never been somebody who was like, "I'm sorry, Chris." Like, I didn't get freaked out. My pet monster was my friend. I put those little chains on his hands, and I put him on my shoulder, and he and I went everywhere.
I love my pet monster.
Everybody was afraid of Teddy Ruxpin. Me and Teddy Ruxpin were like this.
I like Teddy
We would
Ruxpin.
read
I didn't
books
mind Teddy
together.
Ruxpin.
I had the Teddy
Me, Teddy
Ruxpin. You put the
Ruxpin,
cassette in, and he
Grubby
would move his
Pig,
mouth
man.
as the song played.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get. I never got the like. I never got the Child's Play stuff. I never like any of that stuff. I don't know. I just never bought into it. Freddy. So I would have, as a kid, I would dream about Freddy, and he and I would team up to kill Skeletor. I wrote about it. There's something from first grade where I said, Freddy and I are teammates. We get Skeletor.
Dan is the only kid who hangs out with Freddy, goes kill Skeletor, and then I guess gets fucked by Freddy because that's what he does.
Wow.
But that's it. Like,
I
I just never
He's not wrong,
really.
folks.
Is that how
You want to know? You want to know why I got scared of? I got scared of Dark Crystal. Do you remember the part where the Chamberlain disintegrates at the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen Dark Crystal.
Oh, Chris, come on, man!
I
You
did.
gotta
go to
watch.
Popcorn
Dark,
Party.
like,
search.
it's,
Let me
first
do
of
a
all,
search.
it's some of the best puppetry
It
ever
is
by
good.
the Henson team.
That's like the only movie from back then that was fantasy. I liked Excalibur too, but like that I really liked. I was like, Dark Crystal's fucking in it. Like I'm not a big Legend's fine, Lady Hawk's fine, fucking Labyrinth is fine. I dig Willow. I really liked Willow. Mad Mardigan's the fucking.
Mad
I've
Mardigan's
definitely
the-
seen this.
the
I just don't
shit.
remember it.
I like what Jahan's saying right here. I actually will say this. I was scared of the puppets. So the thing about 3, the best kill in 3 is also the shortest. It's when that kid does the puppet, man.
Yeah.
That's like, and it's right up there on my shelf. I bought the special figurine that had the puppet figure. Like, oh man.
Made you hate birds and people with big noses.
It changed
I
Sesame
want them
Street for him forever.
But like the puppets were scarier to me. Like that's,
I mean,
I
they
don't
do
know.
look
And
creepy.
I guess Mick said that before. He's like, you're just weird. And like, yeah, like I guess, man, like I don't know. Some of the stuff that people say.
What up, Pete?
Yeah, but
I'm-
like
I'm
you're
looking-
that weird. Like if you went to film school with me, you'd be like, dude, you're fucking weird, but we fucking love it. Like every
Bro.
time you say those things about Jaws to me, you understand what it does for me as much as to me. Like because your takes on so many things, I'm like, I fucking love that I disagree with this. This is like being back in film school. You know, it's like being able to talk about it. And like, and so it's like, oh, great. It's not the same people saying the same thing again. And I know I
don't
love
read
that
the internet.
too.
I'm like an anomaly because I hate getting ideas from other places. And so like I don't read, like my wife's always like, did you read the comments? I was like, no, why would I do that? Like I don't like
Yeah, I don't
in
read them
some
to see
cases-
if I
in
if
some
I find
cases, I'm
anybody
so
agrees. I read them to see
misinformed,
what
like-
everybody else's opinion is and be like, okay, yep, I'm definitely always in the minority with a lot of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
I
why
read
I
the
read
review
comments because they're
after.
funny as fuck to watch all these people that pretty much are thinking almost the same exact thing start berating each other.
There's like the difference is like some little
Yeah, they're
nuance.
fighting about literally the same point of view, just with like one type different word in there or something. Like it's fucking ridiculous sometimes.
You know what I think the most perfect scene ever filmed is, and it comes from a horror movie?
What?
The sequence at the end of 7.
Oh,
A Friday
I
or Nightmare 7?
No. That's
Friday
7.
7.
movie.
Oh, the movie 7. Gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
Like, and I shared this in because I took 2 film classes for literary credits when I was in college, and I had to write a complete breakdown of my choice of any conclusion of a film, shot by shot, like frame by frame. We had to go through and label everything, write a summary, what's happening, what type of shot, what techniques are being used. And my professor argued with me about it. 45 minutes he argued with me about it because my analysis said that it made Hitchcock look rudimentary.
All right.
And
I got to go watch it to
Wait.
try to even argue or rebuttal that.
Okay. Before. All right.
yes.
Sturdy, I am so sorry, dude.
No, I'm enjoying this, and I like
Uh-huh.
that Chris said that because this motherfucker likes to argue about shit. Debate.
I love it.
So-
Smile into the thing too. Watch this, Weed Wolf. I love it. It's so. It's you look like fucking Zorro now. Like you look like when you Weed Wolf. Goddamn
yeah,
rock
man.
over here and shit. What's going on? All right, Hitchcock. Here's the thing with Hitchcock.
Hitchcock.
I have a lot of respect for Hitchcock.
I hate Wee Wolf.
You ever watch a silent shit, Nick? It's
They're
garbage.
fucking co-
Hitchcock's
What?
silent films are garbage. They're absolute trash.
Which, whose?
It's silent
Hitchcock.
film. Hitchcock.
Oh, well, but that's the thing I like about Hitchcock as a filmmaker. He wasn't above even remaking his own movies. He wasn't above learning and getting better and saying, okay, I love that story. I want to retell it in a better way. Like, but then you get the Howard Hawks who makes fucking Rio Bravo 3 times, you know? So like, exactly, with John Wayne in the same fucking. So anyway, going back to Hitchcock, the thing I love about it is even when he remade his own movies, they were better. He's a genius, and he's a masterpiece artist, you know, in that makes these movies. But the reason to me that a lot of people are just like, he's just great. That's who he is. He's a genius. My argument for Hitchcock is that he wasn't be all end all genius. He just loved what he was doing and learned all about it. And another thing I really respect about him is that I don't know if everybody knows this, but in filmmaking, there's a thing called a rap book, and production manager is usually in charge of it. That rap book contains everything in the movie, every aspect, every department. There is nothing that happens on a film set that is in that rap book, that isn't in that rap book. And if there is, then you have something fucked up.
They leave the clothespins out, though.
That's right. Well, no, the clothespins are what can go in the rap book. what that money bought, not so much. But I'll tell that story another day. The rap books. I was a production manager. I fucking love rap books. So the legend of Hitchcock is that he was so detailed down to every T, every letter. And I always try to mimic this with my rap books. Every bit that if he died during pre-production of one of his movies, all you needed was the rap book and just follow those directions, and it would be made exactly the way
You wouldn't have an AI situation. Thanks a lot, Kubrick.
yeah. So like that. Well, Kubrick was different. Kubrick, like again, Hitchcock was somebody who evolved and got better. Kubrick always just thought he was the best, and he was very good at backing it up. So
Okay, so speaking of directors, to like bring it back for you, Sturdy.
I love it.
Let's see how he does it. Let's see how he does
Wes
it.
Craven versus Sean Cunningham. Go, buddy.
Ooh.
You know what? I would have loved to have seen them both do, say, the first 3 to 4 movies of the franchise, and just seeing their exact visions of what they really wanted to do, whatever that direction may or may not be. Just because they made so, I mean, fucking Jason and Freddy are probably the most iconic characters in horror. They're up there with any iconic character.
I mean, you put them on. You can put them
outside of
on
horror.
with the Universal monsters, right? Like,
I would even say,
Oh, yeah.
I would even take them outside of horror with their popularity. Outside of, you know what I mean? More pop culture, all that other shit too. It's not just horror anymore. I think it's been like that for years now, especially with those two. You could throw Michael Myers in there, but I feel Jason and Freddy are just even more. They're on another level than Michael Myers is, in my opinion. Maybe a few levels higher, but he's still a part of the big three. But he's just just a couple notches down, which is it's fine. It's fine.
I think Chucky's slowly passing Michael Myers.
because of the new stuff.
Just in general, I think Chucky's just the kids know Chucky. They don't know Michael Myers.
Yeah, I see a lot more. I mean, listen, the real gauge of all of this is Halloween stores, right? What merch do you see out there the most? And everybody we're
Chucky.
saying
You don't
right
see
now.
sexy Michael Myers.
But Sturdy didn't answer the question.
Sorry.
What's the question?
Who's better?
I'm gonna go with Sean Cunningham. I mean, as far as Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, that's all I'm going by.
Even
Yeah,
though Sean, okay, I know. Okay, I'll wait till my turn.
I can't
Jason
give it to
Cunningham.
Sean Cunningham because Wes Craven is so much more than Nightmare on Elm Street.
But I'm just talking, just because it's called Freddy versus Jason. I'm just talking Freddy, Jason, Nightmare.
So you think Friday the 13th is a better directed film than Nightmare on Elm Street, the first films?
Oh yeah, I love the first films
All right,
of both.
okay.
I love both actually. Amazing.
Jason.
Well, we're just comparing the first two films. I already said that I liked Friday the 13th better.
But no, you can like the film better, but think one is so. Here's the thing: is like I think. All right, Jaws, right, is an extremely well directed film. Extremely well directed. Steven Spielberg is clearly, even though his cinema history, he has more flops than. And check it out. Mick and I did it one time on his show. He has more flops than wins.
I'm gonna turn towards you just to tell you all the reasons you're wrong while you're looking at me.
You can say something is directed well and not like the film, and you can like the film and say that it's not directed well. So I love Nightmare 6. I think Nightmare 6 was a great ending to the series. It is a terribly directed film, and it's one of the weaknesses it has. So like you can do that. So like if you look at both films and how they're directed, the art, like everything, the director has his hands in all of it, right? Which one do you think was better stewarded? Do you think that Sean Cunningham delivered his message of what are we sending our kids to at summer camp? What kind of threat lurks into the wilderness? Let's keep them in the city versus, Wes Craven's parents don't listen to their kids. And parents are the greatest threat often to the child's safety. Which director stewarded their vision better?
All right.
Chad! Oh, I can. Oh, I'll.
He will,
show,
and we're already in the midst of a Cold War.
We haven't even discussed Friday the 13th.
We'll save that for
That's gonna have to
another
be
episode.
another episode because that's a good conversation. That's some passion right there. Mix
Dude,
about to blow up.
no, I love Dan too much to have that fight. I can't do it.
No, we're gonna have this conversation debate.
It's like
John.
two prize fighters who are champions at different times in their life, but they're best friends and they hang. Well, we're not best friends because he's got way cooler friends than me. But okay, I'll take it. I mean, there's
You're pretty up there, Mick. You're pretty up there.
You got to do it
The
as
last
a short
one died
video
and the other
series
one-
of
and the other one
pre-records, like
quit.
answering each other.
No, but so well, yeah, but Charles drives me nuts. When I hear him say the word, I'm gonna go crazy. But
I just want to say I don't think it's a bad. Mick knows this. I don't think it's a bad film.
And I think it's if it's not a perfect film, it is a slither away from perfect.
Close to perfect.
Oh my God, the mayor belongs. I don't even want to get into it right now.
The mayor belongs in my toilet bowl with some toilet paper.
All right, controversial take here.
Jason has to answer.
All right, wait.
God,
Which one is the better directed film?
I'm actually, this is my answer to that question. But
are we only picking one film, or are we talking about throughout the whole series?
Just
directed. It's Wes Craven versus Sean Cunningham.
Yeah, the first two movies of each.
The original films.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just doing the one film. I'm gonna go with, even though I like Friday the 13th better because of the mother twist at the end and you know what it says about a mother, what she'll do for her kids. I got to go with Wes Craven because there's so much more in the Nightmare on Elm Street movie that he was able to pull off with such a shoestring budget and just the creativity and just I got to lean towards Wes Craven, even though I think Friday the 13th is miles better than the original Nightmare.
All right, here's where
He's nuts. Yeah, we know.
I don't think it's miles
better. No.
Okay,
I don't think miles better either.
Here's the thing. I love Wes Craven. He's one of my favorite directors of all time. And I love all of his movies, but I do understand his early movies are very rude. They're very crude in look and feel, tone, everything. And honestly, I would argue that after Nightmare on Elm Street, his look got a lot better. Changed big in a big way. Like it was even better, you know, all of that. So but here's the thing. Sean Cunningham is not the better director. But I think that Sean Cunningham directed the better movie. But I want to point out of these two, the better script and the better written movie is Nightmare on Elm Street. But I do think that because that darkness and the way they had to kind of play things into it with his look, you go over to what they had to do out in the wilderness with almost nothing, with just a twist, and there's really no pattern for this before, and just to have a POV killer and done in such a great fashion, I gotta argue it's a better directed movie, just from a technical aspect.
See, and I feel like it's Wes Craven, especially in the first one, because there's so many things that were implemented from camera angles and shots and movements with the lighting. Like that all takes the director as well to be like, no, that's not the shot I want. That's not how I want to present it. So to create that eeriness, that atmosphere, that ambiance through all of the things that he can for sensory, and then on top of it, force his team to then be innovative and come up with ways for special effects like the latex, the rooms that revolved around to create the blood splash with the Johnny Depp kill, him sinking in the bed. I mean, there's so many aspects that go into it that without Wes Craven's direction and vision to what he wants to be put out, that movie doesn't happen. And hands down, then yes, Sean Cunningham wins that. But unfortunately, Wes Craven did what he fucking did, got his team to do what they did. And that's why 100% that will always be miles ahead of that other one. It's cool that it's a point of view, but at the same time, it was boring to me. It lacked the luster that Nightmare on Elm Street did in every aspect of the killer. You're just constantly just waiting to see, well, who is it? Whose eyes are we seeing through? And that's it. And that's never going to be enough for me. Then the psychological aspect of that hunt, the funniness of the clown situation that Freddy plays off, and then the manipulation that he plays into it. That's always going to be hands down, all because of Wes Craven not only writing it, understanding the vision, but then also directing the crew to be able to produce the movie that he wanted to get it out.
See, Wes,
like that argument.
Like rethinking everything, because Nightmare on Elm Street isn't even like in my top. It's in my top 3, but it's not my first 2 favorite Freddy movies. Like I would say New Nightmare was better directed.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
was saying about the evolution, because by the time we get to 3, 4, 5, it's a whole new direction. We got the Dream Warriors, and then that comes into more light. We get more daylight shots. We get a bunch of other things. So he's trying and testing new things. And then by the time we get to 6, and then we get to New Nightmare, we see, like we discussed, on why and how certain things play out in Scream when it comes to fruition and all that other stuff. We get to see that evolution through the Nightmare series.
You mean New Nightmare Part 2?
Things, and then when we get Scream, it's like he used everything that he learned the past 15, 20 years of filmmaking, threw it all into that movie, and then made it, again, an obscure type of killer from, you know, a psychological aspect of it that he presents really well.
My hard argument for Wes Craven films and direction and stuff, like, again, one of my favorite directors of all time, and I think the weird enough, I think his 2 best directed movies, one being Music of the Heart, and I'm not bullshitting you, and a close second to his best directed movie was Serpent and Rainbow, because let's really take the role of a director. First and foremost is to work with those actors and get them to give the best performances. And I will hard argue out of any Wes Craven movie, tell me Bill Pullman didn't give a great performance in that movie.
I've never seen it.
It's you should.
Jason. Definitely got to add those to
But that is one, if you ever do a versus Sturdy, I would do The Exorcist versus The Serpent and the Rainbow, because it doesn't have possession, but it's humans possessing humans.
Ooh.
That's interesting. That could play into a little meta kind of thing with how influencers and the internet right now, you know, can help, you know, influence and manipulate people to do things and take on challenges and trends and buy products and all that shit. That's kind of cool.
Nightmare is the better written movie. The literary exposition of Nightmare and how it exists is the better written movie.
Appreciate you, man.
Chad.
Be good, Chad.
Good doing, man.
Have a good one.
I'm going to say, oh man, people are going to be so mad. Wes Craven is nothing without Robert Shea.
Robert
Shea, the New Line guy?
Get out of here. No.
Why? Because he had the
Wes Craven, his works, sans Robert Shea, as far as a director, are a vast gap between the times where he worked with Robert Shea. Sean Cunningham, as a director standing on his own feet in Friday the 13th, with very little production support, does a better job in Friday the 13th.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got to hard argue something on this.
Oh!
So I have
Scream? Come on, Mick. Scream?
Listen,
the entire Nightmare series?
I see your point. My point being, I think I see where you're going with the Robert Shea thing, because Robert Shea bringing him in.
Robert Shea provided Wes Craven had such an ego. The only person that could go toe-to-toe with him and made him better was somebody with just as big of an ego.
I will agree. If anything, Robert Shea brought Wes Craven from indie director to mainstream with Nightmare on Elm Street, which is funny because it was an indie movie. But to go back a little ways, God damn, I got to argue this. Oh, God damn. You get me so heated when you say this shit, Dan.
It's not my fault. So this is the thing. When he doesn't have anybody to check him, okay, shocker. That is a bad movie. That is a terrible film. Nobody checked him. When nobody checks Wes Craven, he does a bad job. Meanwhile,
name one bad Wes Craven movie.
Shocker. I just did. Shocker. Shocker's a bad movie.
No, it's not. It's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun. We can say
like,
fun.
Okay. The Last House on the Left is a bad film. Like and I'm sorry. Like it. We did a little, Jason. We did a little.
No. We got to go back to it. I want to talk about the other one, but oh shit, it's 9:15. All right, we got to go back. Dan, we can't keep arguing this stuff, man.
I'm sorry. These are things that go into my head, and I don't think Robert Shea gets enough credit for the Friday series because people are like, "Oh, they took this turn." No, I think what he did was provide, because the only good way to go forward is through conflict. That's the only way to grow.
I agree.
And the only thing that allowed Friday or Freddy to grow were counterparts. Now, I'll say about Friday the 13th, Sean Cunningham did the first one basically solo mio. There was no production counterpoint really at any point in it. But anytime the producer actually stepped in, they created it. Look at 4. The producer stepping in to try to like provide some actual guidance and bumpers for the lanes. You have a better film. At the times in Nightmare, when Robert Shea provided bumpers in the lanes, they created better films. The ones where he was absent on, 5 and 6, he had nothing to do with. And everybody thinks those are the weakest ones.
They are.
Like,
Wait,
I'm
5 and
sorry.
6
Like,
for what? For
Robert
Jason?
Shea.
No, Nightmare.
Robert Shea gets like this much credit for the series, and I don't get it because he was the asshole on the set saying we need X, Y, and Z as a counterpoint to what the directors were saying at each step. And I think those, like, my favorite thing in the world is the speech they give in Team America. All of you have seen Team America, right? You know what 3 things every movie needs? Pussies, dicks, and assholes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But
man.
perhaps I can argue that the reason we got the 4, 5, and 6 kind of that we did with Nightmare is because of too much Robert Shea and his input to make them more mainstream and popular, bring them into the light and all that stuff.
He left after 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. 5 and 6, he was just like, just make the movies.
Yeah,
like,
and actually they say that the woman who produced, I can't remember her name, who stepped in, who was always like kind of his right-hand man, she was the one that kind of fucked it all.
Yeah, if you watch the documentary, she was the one who was the main. She wasn't the executive. Robert Shea was always the executive producer, but she was like the second
blonde chick. Yeah.
And so her idea was the Freddy baby one. They want to do the Freddy baby one in like 3, and they poo-pooed it. They shoot it out. She was the one that brought him back and was like, you know what, we want to do the baby thing again. Come back. And like it. And granted, I mean, I like 5 and 6. I love it. Talk about fun. 5 is fun. That's a fun movie.
I hated those.
6 is a fun movie. Like, but Robert Shea, when he was involved, now he had some bonkers ideas. I'm not saying he didn't, but that's why Wes Craven was great to balance him out. And the movies that have the strongest directors that said, wait a second, Robert Shea, I want to have this message. Those are the best films in the series. And that's why Sean Cunningham, I think, gets more credit for that first Friday the 13th, and I'll give him more credit. That's my stance on it. Like, Robert Shea doesn't get enough credit for for Nightmare on Elm Street. Everybody wants to hang their hat on Wes Craven, and I'm sorry, I don't worship at the altar of Wes Craven, and never have. I love some of his films, some of them.
Early on, and it's been kind of a reoccurring conversation piece or something that's mentioned. Jason, 3 Geeks Podcast, brought up how much easier it is to get into each Friday the 13th after each movie, because you get the recap. You get the introduction of the character. Like you know what's going on. And even though it's formulaic, they do their best to really give you everything, set you up for success. And then they keep a pacing with it. So, yeah, the Friday the 13th, and I agree with Jason 100% on that, despite me saying they're the worst of the series. Well, it's in this aspect, especially, it's my least favorite series or whatnot. You know, the Freddy franchise is always. But as far as cohesiveness and kind of keeping momentum going with things and allowing new people to come in easily and see things, the Friday the 13th series does that better. You know, reinventing the character as well, where Freddy is always still Freddy. The only thing they change is the way his appearance look, with his makeup, and that's it. And we have gripes about that. Where when Jason changes and evolves, there's a new aspect of his character that's now physical that's being portrayed. There's movements. There's the physicality and the mask being grafted to him. There's the bones that show from his decay, his pissed offness, and his and the visceral
purple jumpsuit.
You know what I mean? So there's all these different things you can argue it makes it a better series all around, but at the same time, I don't think it's the better
You didn't
series
see
because
that?
it's not.
Yeah,
I
what
seen
happened?
that. Yo, as soon as you said purple jumpsuit and sat back, I said NES, and them colors started changing. I
Yeah,
don't know
it
if we're
changed
all
to
dreaming.
blue, didn't it?
Yep.
Did it
I
fuck
did
with
not.
my
No,
eyes?
I didn't. You guys heard. I did not say Al. I did
Dan,
not
wake
say-
up. Wake up, Dan.
Somebody must have said something that sounded like Al, and he said the
Alexa, all lights to red.
Alexa,
to
all
light.
lights to pink.
So the Friday the 13th remake.
Yeah, let's say, like, I'm sorry, that was spooky, but okay. Friday the 13th remake is the second best remake, better
Ooh.
than Nightmare remake. I give it a 9.5.
9.5. Okay.
I
What about
give
you,
it an
Jason?
8. I give it an 8.
8 and 8. Mick?
All right. When I was coming into this morning,
Uh-oh.
it was probably a 9.
Okay.
But I now think that the Nightmare on Elm Street remake is better than the Friday the 13th remake.
I concur. I agree.
And I'm giving the Friday the 13th remake an 8.
I'm not even gonna. I won't.
I'm right there with Mick. I was torn between a 7.5 and 8. I'm gonna land on an 8 with it for me.
It's killing, dude. It's killing me that like Dan.
They're not far. They're
you
also
go-
not far from each other though.
But
And
he's
for
not-
me,
Dan, I'm so sorry. So sorry for all the jabs and the
No,
jokes.
it's great, man. I love that you guys are coming around to it.
for me, I'm giving it a 9. I agree with Dan. It is better. It is better overall, and I agree with what you were saying earlier about the movie, Mick. The side characters of Jason
Mhm.
sucked for the most part compared to the OG ones. They just didn't. That was my issue with this movie. I'm gonna tell you another one.
Yeah.
I wish it was set in the 80s. I wish it was set in the 80s. And a big I understand their cell phones didn't work when they got to the camp.
That was my big fight with the Halloween remake. I don't like that these were all set in present day. I agree with you. I'm sorry, but this too, especially, you're right. I think
Is that why the Rob Zombie Halloween remake is better than the new remake?
it is better than the new remake, but it's still not like you still have
Oh
that.
no!
You saw that dog shit second one, and I swear to
No,
God, Dan.
you know I love that movie, Mick. That's a great metaphor. Oh, man, is that a great metaphor?
Listen, guys. We're gonna get to that. I promise. We're gonna get to. I actually have a great idea for Halloween. I have a great idea for Halloween. Do not worry, guys. Do not worry.
Dan, I'm gonna have to fight you on this one, man. Like, come on.
Both Rob Zombie. Everybody watch that first one. Ooh, it's too mean. It's too meh. And then he's like, okay, fine. You want some highbrow horror? And he took the second one highbrow, and everybody's like, we don't like this either. And he's like, oh,
No, the first one I loved. But
Like
we'll
them
get
both.
to it, guys. We'll get to it. I promise. I already have something in mind for Halloween.
You know, it's fascinating because you just said that you liked the Friday the 13th better than Nightmare on Elm Street, but then you said all the side characters weren't as good. And Nightmare on Elm Street, they're all super strong, as well as Freddy being strong. So you've got all these elements playing. So what is it about the Friday franchise that makes it better than Nightmare on Elm Street? Because everything you just said to me sounds like it should be lower.
The side characters in this one, the remake, are not as good as the original side characters in Friday the 13th.
Yeah, no, I know. But,
I beg
yeah.
to differ.
They're
I like that it was more modern. I think a lot of people in this day and age that we're going to watch HD's becoming more prevalent as far as the imagery goes and the delivery. So I feel like giving it a new fresh look with fresher faces that are kind of up and coming, kind of what plays into this one being solid. Honestly, it's not just the fact that it's Jason, he's visceral, and we get all the little bits and pieces from all of the Friday series with the sack boy, his running, the way he kills people with certain items. I think it's more of they did what they set out to do, which was bring him back into relevance for a new audience, and then give them characters and people that they recognize their faces to from somewhere, whether they were big or not after this, which I think after this, it really started to move a lot of people's careers, especially the dude from Supernatural, the chick who ended up in The Flash. There's a couple people here. And then I don't know if anybody realized this, the Asian dude, the stoner, is actually the Asian dude that died in the remake of Friday that
Yeah.
we watched the video of on the internet. So not only do we have joined cast mixed matching in certain aspects of it, and the whole development of CW character or actors and actresses who came to fame after the fact.
Yeah,
So this kind of
that's true.
helped them segue. But we also have
Oh,
a development team and
shit.
production team that will both
Holy
made both movies.
shit.
So for them to be on that caliber for both entities, to me, is fucking, they're rock stars. That's fucking awesome.
That's
what
what
my question is. For Dan and Sturdy, what makes this better in your eyes than Nightmare on Elm Street? 'Cause like I said, you just said that the side characters weren't that good. So I want to know, what is it that elevates this movie above that?
Jason's like, no, we're going this way. We're taking a walk over to this
I'm
side.
curious.
Sturdy, go, and then I have a very thorough answer for this because
It's a genuine curiosity.
For me, Jason was still super Jason badass how he is. He was still super violent, like how he was from starting with, let's say, 6. Starting with 6, where he really just started ripping people apart. He kept that going in this remake.
My counter to that is he kept that girl in his basement. That kind of goes against that. You know,
Jason wants to get some, and he's a piece of shit. So,
but with that, Jason's not the brightest. He still has the mind of a child, and he's seen she was wearing his mother's locket, and he seen that she kind of, because remember how her boyfriend said, you know, you kind of look like her, you should keep it.
Like her,
cool. And that may have saved their life. I mean,
it very well did.
It's look at
But
that.
I don't like how they immediately killed her.
Look at that as the sweater. Look at that as the sweater. Look at the locket as the sweater, and then you have her kind of favoring his mother, which makes more sense than the sweater. Even though I'm not going to argue the sweater because I still love that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what they did with that, because you notice how no one put a sweater on for this, so it's kind of, you know.
Yeah. Another cool thing about this movie and the throwbacks is that, like, I attribute this to Marvel, because I don't think without Marvel doing all of the things in the background and all these little Easter eggs and stuff, like, we don't pay attention as much on stuff. Like, now watching this, even though this came out before, Iron Man had first came out, but we weren't looking for all that many Easter eggs at this point in 2010. But if now you go and you look and you watch these movies, those corridors underground and everything, look at all the shit that's in there and everything.
Yeah.
You got the wheelchair, you got the fucking spikes, you got the fucking axes, you got certain everything that they can think of,
whistles, all kinds of shit.
And they threw it all in there to throw homage and give the call back to the nostalgia.
I will say one thing I definitely dig about Friday the 13th is that Nana Visitor played the mother in it, and I love Nana Visitor.
Okay.
Major Cure Nerys. I thought that was a great opening for this movie.
No,
and that's the other thing. This movie having what, a fucking 12-13-minute opening?
And it didn't dawn on anybody in the theater either.
Even when I was watching it the other night, I was blown away because I'm like, shit, and then all of a sudden the title comes up. I was like, we didn't even start the movie yet. We didn't even start the fucking movie yet.
I seen this in theaters. All right, so I'm just gonna tell this whole story, right?
Do it, Sturdy. Do it up.
So I seen this in theaters on Valentine's Day.
I remember it was about
Yes, and long story short, that intro, and then it says Friday the 13th. I swear to you, the whole theater just.
Oh yeah,
that was fucking awesome. I was like, that's how you grab somebody's attention and be like, oh shit. Like
you thought the opening with the mother was the thing, and then
yes.
So my take, Jason, and even though I'm such a Freddy geek, the reason why this is like superior to the film, twofold. One, what Chris just said. It's laden with these, like, I love a movie that knows what it is, and there is so much fan service in this movie. Thank you to whoever, I don't know who, Mick, you know who directed it? I have no fucking clue. You know this. I never knew.
I thought it was Sean
This
Cunningham.
one was Mark Nispol or something. I think it was.
So kudos to him. It's laden with all, like, I don't know if you guys feel this about the Freddy one. I loved how new it was.
Marcus Nispel.
So with the Freddy, there was enough that was like, now they did some fan service, but there was enough that was new and fresh that I was like, man, thank you for giving me something that's new. But Friday the 13th is superior because it gave us something new. It gave us a Jason, and it's kind of a return to Sackhead, like I talked about earlier. They gave us a Jason. There's a reason why he is skilled as he is. And I love that. He just relives all of these, like, you know. And so they have all this nostalgia. But the other part is, like, it is a better made film. It's a more complete film. And that's it. Like, if you compare them head to head, now don't get me wrong. Right now we're splitting hairs because, like, both films I truly enjoyed seeing. I remember walking out of the theater, not getting why people didn't like it, yada, yada, yada. I think that Nightmare was a great film, but Friday was a complete film.
Yeah.
There are a couple parts of Nightmare that when I watch it, I'm like, okay, what was somebody already mentioned this. I actually don't like the diner scene. I don't like the diner scene. I don't like leading in with the diner scene at all. I would have much preferred a more of a nod to the originals for the opening, personally. I love the like religious imagery that takes place in the beginning of Nightmare on Elm Street. I really like that. And they didn't do that. They skip over that part. There's no, and that's why, like, I think it's better that the Nightmare remake has no softness to it, which great. I appreciate it for that. But like that softness at the beginning of the original isn't there, and I think that's a huge missing part. Right now we're splitting hairs, right? Like we all agree we both end up liking these movies, right? So we're splitting hairs.
Oh yeah.
With Friday the 13th, the sequence that opens that film is brilliant. And it sucked you in a meta way. And Mick knows I don't love meta stuff. But, like, it sucks you in a meta way that, including me, like, I was the guy who ruined The Sixth Sense for everybody 20, 15 minutes in the film. They were having dinner. Like, Bruce Willis is having dinner, and I couldn't shut my damn mouth. And I was like, oh, he's dead. He wouldn't look at the waiter. And I couldn't shut my damn mouth. Like, I was shocked at Friday the 13th. Kudos to him for the opening of that film and rolling that title. Rolling that damn title when he did. Because it was great.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, it's funny. And to Chris's point, there are two horror movies that I remember vividly being in the theater for. And there was applause. Because nobody really applauds horror movies.
Nope.
It was this.
Yes.
It was this Friday the 13th after. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I remember when everybody just started clapping right after it started. And the other one was Freddy versus Jason.
Oh, yeah. Freddy versus Jason. Everybody clapped. Yeah.
That's a testament to these two characters and their iconic.
That's fucking huge. That's fucking huge. And I love it, going back to what I was saying with this, people clapping and all that shit. It was one of those moments. It just felt so cool. It felt like a movie moment, like when people laugh or clap or cheer.
It was a drive-in moment.
It starts and stops at the right fucking time.
It was the first time you landed safely after 9/11. That's that clap. That's that. Thank you.
One of the things I like about the remake of Friday the 13th is the underground tunnels, and the fact that Jason has certain things booby trapped so the sounds go off underground.
Oh, the bells.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't
Kind
make
of
him,
answers
they
the
don't make
question
him
of-
idiot. They don't make him.
Yeah, how does
idiot
he
at all.
know?
He has,
No.
things in place to show intellect and show strategy and
He's more of a hunter in this too.
Yeah.
He's much more of a hunter.
Which is what I liked about it. I wish they had played that up in the original parts 2, 3, and 4, right? Where he led up to die, and then he's just a vicious killing machine because he's Frankenstein at that point. I love that element.
Sackhead did.
Sackhead what?
Sackhead played up to a certain extent.
True.
To an extent.
I think this Jason in this remake, the closest to part 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the closest to a quote unquote how realistic Jason would be as a kid who grew up in the woods. But I objectively, I don't know that I can fairly compare these two movies, because watching the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street just completely shocked me, because I went did a complete 180 on my
You
feeling
did.
for it. So, like in a month or two, maybe if I revisit the two, my opinions might slightly change. But the overwhelming shock of how I feel about Nightmare on Elm Street could be the reason I like that movie more than this. Because going into today, I thought Friday the 13th remake was fantastic.
Yeah,
And,
I still do. I
mhm.
still back that. That was such a great movie. Yeah,
I mean, neither one is that. So I would put Texas Chainsaw, and I did the remake in my. I'd put it top 50.
Oh,
you'd put this in your top 50?
no,
Texas
Texas
Chainsaw.
TCM remake.
Yeah, I could see
These
that.
two movies I don't. These two movies I don't. I put them there. If I'm gonna put it, it's like tiers, right? Texas Chainsaw is like an S tier movie, while this is like both of these are like an A minus, and
Yeah.
Well, we gave it a 9, right? Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the biggest problem that I had. I went into all three of these movies being who I am, and I'm kind of like ashamed because FYI, talk about pissing people off. I think 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a fucking terrible movie. Tim and I both do. Mick has heard us say that. Everybody, Mick, do you remember it was like 2019 or 2020? We had to watch that movie like 9 times.
Yeah.
And Tim and I were like, every time we watch that movie, we have a fucking headache.
I don't disagree with that. I do. There's a lot about it I do respect for filmmaking. But it is not a great story. It is not told well, and yeah, and like bonk on the head. Okay, next person up, bonk on the head. Okay, next person. Oh, did a little running, bonk on the head. You okay?
Meanwhile, 2004 is that is the closest thing to a non-Shining or Alien horror movie that's perfect.
You know what, Dan? My opinions of Texas Chainsaw Massacre are not great either. I like the first one, the original one. I thought was fine. But any of the sequels, 2, I hate 2. I thought 2 was atrocious. I disliked 3. Next Generation, I thought was horrible. I'd rather watch
Next Generation's I love that movie.
I'd rather watch the Netflix one before any of the other sequels.
I've never seen it.
All right. We are getting way off base here. So, Sturdy, we know you have a lot of verses planned.
Sturdy is loving every second of this.
We're going to get them out of the way right now. Okay, what's up next?
No, I have some shit planned, but we'll talk about it when that one's coming, because that one has a battle up against something anyway. But the Netflix one, Jason, really? The best thing about that was the bus scene.
Yeah,
it's a good slasher movie. I thought that it was a good slasher.
Oh,
Texas 2 is rough, man. I know I'm in the minority. I'm like Dan when it comes to Texas 2.
Dude, I die on the hill, Jason. Don't let anybody take you off your hill ever.
I didn't get it.
You never know. In 10 years, we'll be old as balls, and everybody will be like, "Oh man, we really like that Netflix Texas Chainsaw Massacre." FYI, I was so ready for the 4 of you to come at me. I told you this morning.
We were ready to come at you, Dan.
I've been defending both of these films since they came out to anybody that and I don't get it. Like I said earlier, I don't understand what people want out of film anymore. I really don't. Especially one of the movies that officially convinced me where I'm just like, okay, I'm completely out of touch with what other people enjoy was Thor: Love and Thunder. My wife and I watched that movie and had a blast. We laughed our ass off at the what are they, cows? I can't remember. We laughed our asses off at the cows. We loved Christian Bale so much. I was like, he was embodying everything I've ever felt about religion, by the way. Like, he was embodying everything I always felt about religion. I loved the whole scene with the Greek gods, and I laughed. We laughed. We got sad with the kids. After watching that, holding off watching it because everybody hated it, and then watching it, I was like, officially, I am so detached that I am done giving a fuck what mainstream people think about any film.
Yeah. You know what's funny, Dan, is that society isn't ready for Taika Waititi to be full Taika Waititi, and in that movie, he got to be full Taika Waititi.
They just gave him the reins, and he was like, okay.
All right, but
in Ragnarok, you could tell Feige's kind of holding him back a little bit, but not in Love and Thunder, man. That's Taika Waititi.
I feel so bad for you, Sturdy, but here you go. My biggest take on it is I really did like Thor: Love and Thunder too, but everybody's bitching and moaning about a lot of things. I like them because they're fun. Like I liked Quantumania because it was fun. I like, for the same people are so tied into it's gotta have this, that, and the other thing to be connected throughout everything. And I'm like, I'm kind of glad they didn't because it is kind of connected, but I'm having fun. And this is fun. And I don't understand why everybody hates it.
Why can't we have fun?
Like we're not having a good storyline, so let's have fun.
To be fair, it's
not
just
like
the
nerd fanboy fucking keyboard warriors out there that have the time to fucking say something about this shit, really.
Yeah, that's fair.
To be fair, it's not like Nightmare Remake is fun.
No.
Friday the 13th remake is fun. That's it. I mean, that's it, right? That's a fun movie.
There's a lot.
I would argue that Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake is not. That's not a fun movie.
No.
Especially remember the nails.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not like Nightmare is a fun movie. So like it's kind of not the same. But like I remember being so disappointed in my friends after watching these two films, and they were like, "How dare you? You guys can fill in the blank because you guys know all the people just like this. How dare they?" And I was like, I was like, first of all, I'm the reason any of you ever watched Evil Dead. I'm the reason any of you watch The People Under the Stairs. I'm the reason that any of you know
Two Girls, One Cup. I get it, man. I'm
Black Christ. I'm the reason why you guys know that stuff. I'm telling you, these movies are worthy. And they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. I was like, fuck you. Like, I dragged all of you to the drive-in. I dragged all of you when Child's Play 3 came out. And I wanted to go see it for my birthday. I was the one that begged their parents to let my parents take them. I was the one that dragged them to all of this stuff. Shit. They stayed up till midnight to watch the midnight showings on Joe Bob with me. Like, I was the one that did all that. And then they all were like, no, you're wrong. And I was like, okay, I clearly cannot talk to you guys about these movies then. Because now apparently you have superseded anything that I have lended to your movie repertoire.
Created monsters.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get why people watch these two films and say they don't like them.
I mean, I can give you my honest reason for Nightmare on Elm Street. From what I remember watching it back in the day, was just the look of Freddy really took me out of it. And just I was like, fuck it.
Because it wasn't.
No, I really think it's because people couldn't root for Freddy in that movie.
No, it wasn't. For me, it wasn't that. I don't care about that.
Just not practical.
But going back and watching it today, I'm like, this is a good movie. The story's good. It does give you a real reason to hate Freddy. And he was back to being scary again, I guess you could say.
No, and scared me. Both these movies scared me today. A couple scenes.
Well, they didn't scare me, but I'm just saying he's like back to being scary.
Different as like an adult, right?
If I could interject for just a second, Sturdy, if I remember correctly, both the original Nightmare on Elm Street and this Nightmare on Elm Street remake have proven one very distinct thing. Freddy does, in fact, not enjoy the dark meat.
Hey, man, you guys are all
Freddy
over the
versus
place.
Jason changes that, though.
And that's why it'll be the best in the series.
Sturdy, how do you feel about the fact that line wasn't written in?
I was fucking hilarious.
Okay.
When
I watched Freddy vs. Jason in the theater, and she said that line, I have a soft spot for Kelly Rowland. Man.
She's hot.
I mean, she's hot. She's hot, right?
Yeah. So shouldn't you have a hard spot for her then?
But she says that line, and everybody knows exactly what line I'm talking.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. When I was watching the theater, I was like,
Jason, he's got.
Boom.
And the kids now call it cringe, isn't that
Yeah, I guess.
I think cringe was like a generation ago.
They can watch kid shows then. Fuck them kids, man. I'm sick of their shit and they're crying and overall.
I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was great. I thought it was perfect because, like Mick said, in none of the Friday or Nightmare on Elm Streets until we get to fucking the third one with the Warriors, do we get anybody of color. and Kincaid's in 2 of them.
Kincaid's the man, by the
Right.
way.
And then
I
the
will
next one,
storm
Yeah, I like
upstairs
Kincaid.
randomly.
then
and
they
I'll be
throw
like,
in the one token
"Hey, yo,
again, and the
Kruger!"
next 2, just to make sure they're trying to be inclusive as we're changing times here in the 90s, coming to the 90s, right? And then after that, we get the remake. We got nothing. Again, like there's not a single color person in this remake. Am I like? I'm pretty sure I was like, when you said the Suburbia thing earlier, I was like,
But Friday the 13th.
oh shit.
The remake is intentionally not. Here's the other part, like as far as inclusivity, sometimes you can take a film, remove inclusivity, and prove a point with it.
Yeah.
Like these kids
Yep.
are the epitome of privilege.
Yep.
And so like I love this message in this film because like it's like, and this is why Mick has had this conversation with my brother as well. My brother doesn't like this movie because it's like there's nobody to root for, and he's right. Like I don't actually root for the protagonist of the film. I'm like, man, you are a snotty child. Like sometimes it's okay to have a movie where it's like, okay, everybody is kind of shitty.
Yeah.
I don't feel like, I don't know. I feel bad for the children part, right?
Yeah.
But I don't feel bad for their teenage selves because, like, their first instinct is our parents were wrong. And then the parents' first instinct was, we're going to do this without actual justice. Like, so many layers on top of layers of, like, pointing out shit that happens every day.
Yeah. Presumptuous entitlement.
Yeah.
Listen, just call it what you will. I don't give a shit. Somebody did something to my kid.
See?
Word.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be
That's why the
entitlement
new
to
Nightmare was
whatever.
more realistic. The remake,
but
because
I'll end
but
your
I went to
bloodline.
court.
Yeah, go right
Okay,
ahead.
I'm almost positive one of them was a lawyer. You know what I'm saying?
I am
1 or 10 of
calling
them
my
are
friend.
lawyers. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
to
the
make
dad
sure
of the so
he gets
they were
the worst
the
sentence. He
female
goes
and
to
the
the
male
worst
protagonist.
prison. Like somebody slips somebody a couple in the commissary to make sure he gets a little extra when he gets in there. You know what I mean? Like,
No, it's true though. It's true because I feel like for the most part in real life, outside of movies, a parent is going to do what they got to do to protect their child.
yeah,
And it's just going to be that. And
Yeah.
rightfully so. And that goes even with like in the animal kingdom. Like that's one thing that an animal will do is protect their young. And if they have to kill, they got to kill when it comes to that shit.
I get that.
Nobody touches
But
my child, and I will get to them before the cops do. I promise.
You'll actually do something about it.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Like, just don't, unless you want maniacal to come out.
I get it. Believe me, I get it.
Maniacal.
It's real easy from the outside to say that, and we're talking about a movie situation. But if it was a real situation,
yeah, and on top of that,
I'll be riding out with you, homie.
on top of that, when it goes with that, I feel like for anybody, if you see a child getting harmed, it shouldn't even have to be your child to go and protect that child.
Nope. No, you're absolutely right, and I definitely agree.
Have-
My point here is though, but if somebody, but what I'm willing to do if somebody harms or kills my child, isn't something that I'm willing to do for just anybody.
Right.
Protection is a big thing.
What if?
What I'm willing to do is a big difference. Now, my point with Freddy though, so if Freddy had been the killer, then I'd be very fucking happy when I heard he came back into dreams because I'd be going right to fucking sleep.
What if
I get chance number 2
in this remake, instead of Jackie or Earl Haley, they had made Freddy a person of color?
R. Kelly?
That's too real. I'm not like so,
he's hidden in the closet. Leave him alone.
So think about this for a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
The treatment that England wrote that they originally explored for the reboot was that Freddy was innocent, right?
No, not in the in the original movie or in the reboot, you mean?
The reboot.
No,
so
the reboot.
when everybody did their treatments, Robert Englund rewrote it and basically was like, have we ever explored the idea that maybe he was innocent? So you make Freddy a person of color, and everybody knows that in the 1970s and 80s, blame the black man was a legitimate like police strategy.
Shit, that's still here in 2023. But
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh at that.
no, it's
Fucking
true.
Sturdy, you're fucking zingers sometimes when somebody says some
Listen.
shit. Just
So-
fucking for me, thank you.
Of course.
Think about this for a second, and then suddenly the turn really is that he's guilty. Right? Just like in how the plot plays out. How do you feel about that film? That you have these two, think about it.
So the
Midway
twist
through
is
the movie,
actually
they're
a
like,
twist.
he's actually potentially innocent, right? Midway through the movie, he's potentially innocent, and you're playing off on all of those white privileged, white bread people that have white guilt and don't actually wear it in a heartful way, but they wear it as like a shield or some shit. And then you end up that he actually was guilty, and the two people, like, let's say they killed their parents because they think their parents are like these vigilante pieces of shit.
That would be interesting.
Dude, wait. I want to go back real quick because fucking Dan, what you're describing is Candyman. Except he wasn't.
And I'm
guilty.
describing a real Candyman plot instead of one that involves bees.
You son of a bitch.
Killer bees.
That is.
fuck
the
yeah.
plot.
I was waiting for somebody to pick up on what I was saying.
I picked up on. I knew where you were going with it, you son of a gun.
Candyman, I love that.
But no, okay, seriously, like, I think there's a lot of possibilities in this franchise, and I think the person that needs to lead it is the two brothers. So the brothers who directed the Stranger Things, and they've already proven they can do Freddy. This is Vecna, right? Like,
true.
Give us this movie gave us something new. Friday the 13th didn't. I'll say that. That's my criticism of Friday the 13th remake. It didn't give us anything really new. But I appreciate the fan service, and I thought it did a better job than the Nightmare remake. But imagine giving it to...
It gave us an Asian. There was no other Asian in Friday the 13th, was there? Or am I mistaken?
Yeah, no, it's the one kid. Yeah.
I don't remember. Like,
it worked. You know what I mean?
Do you guys remember that disgusting scene where he chugs a beer out of his shoe, though?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, to all the felt, and I'm like, dude, can we not have this speech? This is disgusting. Anyway,
pretty rough.
They listen now. Not all Australians, but they do that in Australia. They call it a shoey. I see UFC fighters.
I drank beer out of a boot.
Was it a used boot?
Yep. I lost a game of foosball when I was in the Army, and I had to drink a beer out of a boot.
Then how are you even criticizing that? You did the same thing.
It's disgusting. I don't want to see the. It's the same. I don't want. Like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, there are specific things that I just don't like seeing it. Like, I don't like seeing animals die in films. I don't think it has any place in film. I just don't. It's like low hanging fruit, right?
I don't. Well, okay, I'll disagree, but only to the point of, like, I don't mind if animals die in films, like, if it's being really portrayed as funny, like in the sense of, like, Anchorman, you know, when he kicks the dog over the thing.
I'm talking horror film specific.
Okay, no, but I'm going back to horror films. I promise. But like the Michael Myers when he kills the dog, that's my extent of, if you're gonna kill an animal like that, it should make sense.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Like,
that actually,
up the dog,
especially.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, Dan, you're muted. Oh no,
I can't hear you.
Oh no!
I'll tell you exactly what he was going to say. Dan was going to say that Jaws is one of the pinnacle movies of all time to ever be made, and the greatest.
I was not going to say that.
He loves the mayor.
You son of a bitches.
He loves the mayor. He loves the mayor in his little anchor suit.
Even though I have a decent setup, my microphone is fine. The cord for my microphone is finally starting to go, and I got to get a new microphone, guys.
I might have one. Let me see if I can find.
No, I'm gonna get. I have a specific one I want to get.
The Shure. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure, Nick.
You can't buy a piece of equipment like that and not come on the show more. I'm just gonna.
That's true. This show too.
I'm gonna say
he has a point. He has a point.
Dan's like, I'm
And
not
like,
buying
if
it.
you guys knew, so when I did my show, when I did Master Shake, the embarrassing amount of money I sunk in to like just getting started, just because like my brother was the one that convinced me to do it, because I was like, who the fuck wants to watch some 37-year-old washed up has-been? Like listen,
I loved your show. You know that.
I had 100 people. Mick, you saw 100 people at the height. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it today. I don't get it when
I'm a
people
huge
watch me.
Dan
So I
fan.
had people watch me play Magic the Gathering, and I would have like a whiskey. Like,
You're an interesting guy.
You
Yeah,
are.
I'm a
no,
Dan
I
fan.
like.
You're the type of person I feel like can sell fucking anything to anybody. Damn near.
Except Jaws is a bad movie that you can't sell me on that shit.
I've
besides
convinced
that-
people though, Mick. I've convinced people that it's overrated. I have.
You've convinced, yeah, and you know what? All of those people would have joined a cult at some point in their life.
That's true.
Hold on one second, guys. We have the writer of
that's
Jaws,
making
Carl
dangerous.
Gottlieb, on the line.
Oh no, I need to get out of here.
That's what makes him dangerous. Is he could be a cult leader, and he's white, and that's usually a cult leader.
No. That's it. See, the beautiful part
Too much sugar
is
in the
that
Kool-Aid.
I come with absolutely no ego. And so when people disagree, I don't take
Bullshit.
offense at any of it.
Bullshit. You come with no ego on every fucking thing we talk about, and I agree with that. But when you talk about Michigan versus everyone else,
Okay.
it's the biggest
I'm
goddamn
a
ego
I'm
I've
a
ever
bias.
seen.
I am biased towards Michigan. I'm not gonna lie about that. I love my state. FYI, I mean Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell both came from my state, so suck on that. Like, like just saying. Like, we do have the most
Humble
fresh
train
water
has
in the
left the
world.
building.
Suck
Oh.
on that is what he says.
Also, Evil Dead. Evil Dead technically is set here, even though they shot it in Tennessee. Like,
Hey, listen.
my favorite is in the new TV show, the Evil Dead TV show. They constantly cite Michigan, and I love every second. And S-Mart is supposed to be Kmart, and I love that. Like Kmart, Michigan brand, love it.
This guy.
Hey, give me all the Michigan all day. Okay, Mick, you got me on that one. I am
You're
pro
100%
Michigan.
ego.
all the way, and I that is one thing that I am.
I respect it.
I'm immovable
God.
about when it comes to Michigan. I'm immovable. I've been a whole lot of places in the world. I love my state. Tons of the best music. If you guys ever listen, so this is a band from Michigan that people I know this is
Best
getting way
fucking
into the
music.
weeds. I'm so sorry, Sturdy. So there is a Michigan band from the 70s
Rock?
that is far better than the Rolling Stones with a
Oh.
similar sound.
Oh, who
And
are
nobody knows them. Nobody
they?
knows them.
Exactly.
They're called the MC5, and it stands for Motor City 5, and they are great. If you ever get a chance to listen to the MC5, also Iggy Pop and the Stooges from Michigan, great band, phenomenal band. Like Michigan has the best music, the best food, the best water,
Come
the best
on.
nature.
Dan,
Like,
Dan,
you
Flint,
said the best
Michigan, and
water?
Kid Rock. Defend those.
So the two things that there are three things that I cannot defend. I cannot defend Kid Rock because he is not a Michigander anymore. I don't know if you know this or not, but now he lives in Tennessee.
He came from Michigan.
He did, but he, unlike what he claims, he was not. That dude was like super privileged. I can't defend the Flint situation. I will say this: it's more complicated than people outside of Michigan know.
And you keep stealing pieces from Ohio.
Man, fuck Ohio.
I love Ohio. You guys do have my favorite rapper there, so I can't hate Michigan.
That's Eminem, man.
And
Not
he
just
gets back to
self-appointed.
Detroit. So
Yeah, he is widely considered, although I disagree, the greatest rapper of all time. Michigan is Michigan for a reason, guys.
there's a
Everybody
conversation.
should
though.
move here.
Listen,
There's a
Dan,
conversation.
did you know this
between
about
the
Michigan? Did you know 2 girls, 1 cup was shot in Michigan?
guy,
Which is
I'm
something
out.
else to be
I
bragging.
did. I have a friend who went to college.
how do you
I have-
fucking know that? Sturdy, how do you fucking know this?
I have a
just
friend who
threw
went
that
to
out.
college.
He is a
I have a
super
friend who went
fan.
to college with one of the 2 girls.
Oh my god.
Two
Oh my
sturdies,
God.
one cup.
I gotta
Coming
get off
soon
the
to a
show.
video
I have
near
to
you.
leave now. I have
I'm
to go to
just
bed.
Mick. I did that for you because I was just trying to show you how I can throw that into an
Don't
episode.
say you did it from Mick. You didn't do
How
it
do
from
you
Mick.
know it? You had to. What did you do? Read a fucking book on the whole thing?
No, actually, I made that up.
Why Dan knew he knew
just made
somebody
that
who
up.
knew them.
No. One of the girls,
Where's
Mick.
Mr.
One of the
He's
girls.
the one who created the wiki page. Just want to tell you.
Where's Mrs.
So,
Sturdy? We got to talk to her
I-
about your obsession with this.
I can't speak to whether she was born here, but one of the two girls from the video went to college with a friend of mine. Now, this could be urban legend. I already said earlier, I don't read internet shit. So, according to one of my friends from college, he went to college with her.
That's awesome.
So, she might not have been born here, but for a year, according to him, they both attended the University of Michigan. So,
All right, you know what?
I would have got her autograph. I would have got a paper cup. Can you sign this, please?
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. We're either gonna wrap this up or we're going until 12 o'clock, and we can, all rein in Taylor's new 1989 version.
Fuck that.
I'm just gonna. You want a controversial take?
What?
Her 1989 isn't as good as Ryan Adams' 1989. There you go. There's a controversial take.
Didn't she
But
already have an
he's saying
album called 1989?
1969.
Not
He's saying-
Brian Adams, Ryan Adams.
I don't know who that is.
So Ryan Adams is like a
I'm
folk
confused.
guitar guy.
Me too.
He
I don't know who either of
he
them
did a
are.
cover album 1989 where he covered all of her songs. Now, this, and I'm biased. Admittedly, the only Taylor Swift album I like is the newest one, Midnights or whatever.
I
But
like Folklore too.
Ryan Adams' 1989 is better than her 1989.
I like
I will-
Midnight.
but
I like
she wrote the
Folklore.
music, so give her the credit.
And Evermore.
All right, I
Evermore?
say
No,
Nightmare on Elm
October.
Street is the best.
Yes.
I disagree.
Sturdy, we really like. You know what my favorite part about coming on these shows is? It's like my classroom when I taught. Like, man, all topics are considered, and I think that it's important that people are willing to explore anything that is relevant. And we always come back to our point. Bring us back, Sir Sturdy. Bring us back to gravity, sir.
I'm bringing us back to Jason is better than Freddy. And I know I'm outnumbered on this, but that's perfectly fine. This just
I
shows
know
you,
I am. I know I am Sturdy. I know I'm better than Freddy, but in the movies, Freddy is better than Jason.
Highly disagree. And I don't know any Freddys, so you may be better than Freddys. I don't know any Freds. I don't know any.
I'm better.
I don't know Freddy either.
Oh shit! I don't think I know any Freddys.
I just have one question to ask. Because
Yes,
if,
you know a Freddy?
if we
Hang
go
on.
based on what Mick said earlier about what's in the stores, does anybody ever see a sexy Jason Voorhees? No, only sexy
Yeah.
Freddy's.
Actually,
No,
yeah.
Shut up, Jason!
I've seen a sexy Jason Voorhees.
Yeah,
I'll
I was
bet
just
you
at Spirit
$1,000
Halloween.
for
The
sexy
sexy
Jason
Jason.
Voorhees.
What made it sexy that it was covering the
Freddy.
chick's face? She was a 4 and became a 9.
I'll bet you it's a mask like this. I'll bet
It's
you
a
it's a mask
costume,
like
too.
this. And
Or
like
it's
just
a
like
costume,
sexy
and then
jumpsuit or some shit.
it's the costume, and it's the same thing what they do with the Freddy. It's a little cute
Sexy
face
flannel.
paint.
They have
Sexy
sexy Ghostbusters, dude, where they look like they're fucking delivering a package.
Oh,
It's
Sturdy,
insane.
I tried to share my screen with. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Oh,
Oh shit! Here we go.
Oh no, this better not be two girls,
But
one
hands
cup. I'll
down,
quit
Freddy
the
is
internet.
always going to reign supreme over Jason.
I swear to God, I'm going to quit the internet.
Disagree.
Okay.
That is not Jason, though. He doesn't wear none of that in the movies.
It
Freddy
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
But it's
Do you think any of them wear what they're wearing in the movie?
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
The women all wear a sweater dress that is striped, okay, for Freddy.
But it's sexy.
Freddy's not wearing a
Jason
sweater
Voorhees.
dress with the V-neck cut out so the titties can hang.
you know what the hottest Halloween for me
fishnets.
probably ever was.
What?
If Freddy was Frida, he would have.
This is gonna sound so. I went as like a mafia guy with my friend. We both had like
I can see that.
full mafia suits, and my wife at the time was not my wife.
Whose
she
wife
went-
was she?
Nobody's wife. Like, we weren't even dating yet, but I was really into her. She dressed up like Iron Man, but not sexy Iron Man. And this is one of the big reasons I knew I love her. She had her mom re-sew a child's Iron Man costume.
Nice.
I
That's
love it.
awesome.
I love
So
it.
she went as like Iron Man, not like, oh, sexy Iron Man. No, she had fucking Iron Man on with tennis shoes.
Nice.
And I fucking loved it. Like,
I respect that.
it was amazing. I loved every second of it. And then the very next Halloween we went as Doc and Marty McFly.
Nice.
Nice.
I fucking love that.
And
Me
it, like,
too.
that's like, I hate, man, when they do the sexy whatever, like, fill in the blank afterwards. I'm just like, come on, man. Like,
I just thought about something. Your wife is a brunette, right?
my wife is super black, Chris.
Is what?
Super black.
I was like, wasn't she on the Casters for a Cost with us?
Yeah.
Okay. So
My wife-
she
my
needs
wife's-
to be Nancy. You need to be
Hold
Freddy
on,
this year.
Freddy, you got to show a picture of my wife's dad.
You need to be Freddy.
I'm
She
gonna
needs
pull
to be
this up
Nancy
first.
this year.
Because this drink right here,
Wow, that's your
I
dad.
didn't do that.
No, that's called the Freddy's Revenge. It's a cocktail that I came up with. It's a Midori martini, and you can see the striation between the Midori, which is green, and the grenadine, which I sunk into the bottom. And you sink the grenadine by pouring it from the edge of the martini glass, and it drips down into the bottom, and you actually form the two lines of the sweater.
Nice.
Super cool drink, very delicious, dangerously alcoholic. Because it's basically all alcohol.
Dangerously alcoholic. All right, let me
And
see
for
what
part
you can
8, there of Jason, there's the Mick Manhattan, and that is a Manhattan with a chicken nugget.
Oh my god, a Manhattan with a chicken nugget in it.
He did that. Don't
With
even.
Oreo
I did it for
with
you.
a
I
hockey
made it
puck.
for you.
He did. He made me that drink.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
All right.
That's
All right, so
fucking-
Hold
we're
on.
in all
So-
agreements, right? Freddy for the win, even though we still got to do Freddy versus Jason on Halloween.
no.
That's
Dirty
what I heard.
Dead.
That's what I heard. Yeah, that's exactly what I
Freddy's
heard.
only
Yeah.
won 3 movies.
Oh no, I meant in this one. Is that a sexy basketball player?
That's my wife's dad.
Oh wow.
That's a sexy basketball player. Wait, your wife's dad was on the Harlem Globetrotters?
Dude, yeah, Miranda. So Miranda's dad was Frank Stevens. He played.
Oh my
for
god!
Both
Holy
the
shit.
Globe. He was on an episode of Scooby Doo.
Can I
Can
have his
we
autograph?
interview him?
Can I have his autograph?
I'm gonna let her tell that. That's her journey to tell.
Oh, am I not allowed to have an autograph?
Oh, you can ask. She'll give you the whole lowdown. But
Oh,
and
okay.
that's her journey. I'm not gonna make her journey for.
I
her.
love the Harlem Globetrotters growing up.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
She
love
used to
Sign
bring
my
him. She
breath.
used to bring him. I will tell this story. She used to bring him to show and tell when she was out every year in show and tell. And one time, a kid asked him, "Mr. Stevens, what was your nickname in the Harlem Globetrotters?" Because you got like curly, all that, like, right. And I shit you not, this dude looked at the entire crowd and he said, "Frank."
Frank.
He said my name because that's it. I mean, that's his name. He didn't have a nickname. He didn't like. What's funny is that he would have killed it in the NBA today. Apparently, according to his card, he was a stretch 4 who could shoot from beyond the arc and rebound. The dude would kill it in today's NBA.
No
Kevin
doubt.
Durant.
No doubts whatsoever. Harlem
That's
Globetrotters were fucking phenomenal, man. I
You
love.
gotta ask it next time, Mick. She's on a show. You gotta ask it because, like,
Dude, I'm gonna have so many questions. Like you triggered it. Okay, so when I was a kid, I gotta tell a story. Sorry, fuck it. So my uncle was a basketball player. He was a college basketball player, like really well. He did really well, and but he quit and he came back to move back home. So years later, he's working home. They used to do charity events, and he was somewhat of a bit of a local celebrity. So he would play in them, and they would go up against like the New York Giants, and sometimes the Harlem Globetrotters would come in and they play just for the charity side of it. I shit you not, man. Every time I saw the Harlem Globetrotters on something I wanted to watch, I love the Harlem Globetrotters, and I can't believe I've known you for what 3, 4, almost 4 years now. And I don't know this, and I want to cry.
you know what's funny, Mick? So my wife. So my wife was a great softball and a great volleyball player. Okay, I'm not downplaying my wife's athletic ability. She'd get so mad at me if I did. She constantly says she could beat me in a race, but there was a point in time where I could run the 40 and 4.55. I don't think that would ever happen.
I could never do that, so it's okay.
So my wife, of
I
course,
ran a 40 in my hand for about 5 minutes.
my wife
I didn't run anywhere for 5 minutes.
was going to play basketball, of course, because Frank's her dad. And he's like, I'll teach you how to play basketball. And I kid you not, like, this is, I can't make this shit up. She goes to shoot her first shot, and that motherfucker just blocks her shot. Like, and she just quit. She never went back to play that. I mean, my wife's 5'9". She's almost as tall as I am, and she never went back to play basketball.
That's awesome.
Like,
No,
you got Matumbo. Nadia.
She tells the story so much better. I let her sometime tell the story. I mean, these are almost as good. Like, we have so much shit like this. Like,
dude, don't even get me started. My wife has been bugging me to, like, he's like, start a group chat so I can talk to her. I'm like, Jesus Christ, leave me alone. I'm kidding. I said I would have.
Like, everybody, FYI, like, anytime. So my whole friend group, right? They hated before her. I mean, ancient ago now, but like at this point, over 14 years ago, hated the one before her.
Oh, so there was one before her, huh?
Oh, so before her was an Italian opera singer. And
what are you, Robert De Niro over here?
Well, like, she was legit Italian, like
Chris got it.
Italian as hell. Let's put it that way. And you can call me Sturdy. My whole life, it's like, oh, Dan doesn't date white girls, and I don't date white girls.
It's fine, hey.
But my wife came along, and suddenly all of my best friends became her. Like, and I was like, I'm right here, and they're like, yeah. Anyway, this girl, and I was like, what? And so most of the time when all my friends are around, it's like I'm a bit player. I'm like the edge of the circle. I was like, wait a second, these are my friends. These are my friends. You saw her on the stream. You guys all saw her on the stream. She was like, no, let's roll the thing more. And what did we all do?
We listened to her.
Like, it is.
She's demanding in a good way.
They love her. They
on top of that,
so
we did it for your
like,
we did it for your safety. I'm a married man. I know how that goes. You're gonna hear it later. So I'm like, you know what? I gotta bail my man out. Let me spin this wheel again because his lady asked. It's we gotta cover each other.
Spin that fucking wheel, Sturdy. Always spin that wheel. Somebody said spin the wheel, you spin the wheel.
Christmas is gonna be wild.
Dude,
I can't wait to play Uncle Eddie if I actually get to.
Ooh. All right. Guys, I want to go watch Smallville with my wife. I
have to be up at 5 a.m. So
to be continued.
Oh yeah, we got
Nick at Night. You let me know.
Possibly. See you
and bring the wife because I have a million questions.
Yeah, me too.
I have so many questions.
Why don't you? So ask. She's FYI. She loves Jaws and she loves Jurassic. She thinks Jurassic Park is a perfect film. So
yeah, I agree with her.
You can tell how that conversation goes around this house. Like, but I can't wait. I want you guys to pick her brain about some films because my wife, if you think I have some interesting takes, I would love to see your response to her takes for some movies. I've told her for years. I was like, I think it would be great if we did a podcast where you just react to films and then I tell you what the general opinion of that film is. I just told you. Earlier I said what she said about Candyman. She got to the end and she's like, "This is terrible. This is a bad film." I was like,
"Dude, the Browns are making a push in the playoffs for the Super Bowl, so I gotta go."
Good luck. Good night, buddy. Good luck. I picked up on it.
Hey guys, Gamer Ever, come catch me. I play Fortnite every Friday night. You can catch the YouTube channel, over 600 videos.
He isn't actually the worst
Sunday,
ever.
We're going to be doing a raid-a-thon over on Twitch. Sturdy's a part of it as well. Love you guys. Peace out.
I'll be there too.
He's going to doo-doo. Take a Puerto Rican doo-doo.
God damn it. I've said it so.
He said it so. Yeah, he said it so classy. I will say this to you, Dan. Bring your wife tomorrow, man. Come on, tell stories. I love stories.
I told you I can't make it tomorrow. We're going to the lake.
Oh, that's right. You're going to the lake. That's right.
We got our annual. So there's this like little inn. It's a bar, but I mean they call themselves a Swiss Inn up north by our cottage, and they do costume competition every year. This year I'm going as Ghost Rider, and I built a leather jacket, and I haven't sent too many pictures yet, but I built a leather jacket with red LEDs and a portable smoke machine that pours smoke out of the top of the head. so that way, and I have a skull. Then I'm going to spirit gum to my face, the leather jacket. I put my own spikes on the shoulders. I got the leather pants, and I have the world's heaviest chain. Oh my God. It's like probably 15, 20 pounds worth of chain going over my shoulder. I'm like, why did I do that?
Dude, I fucking love that.
I hope I win. But that's why. So we'll go up tomorrow, and I might try to tune in if we're not watching other horror movies. I'll try to tune in, but I can't do Mick at night just because my in-laws will be in the living room with us.
Wait. No. Yes, you can. You absolutely can.
Good.
You absolutely can watch with them because I'm just going to be there asking questions, and then you can type them the answers in the comments.
We know you can't be there, but can your wife be there?
Bro.
That's see? I told you. Basically, like, no, let's leave Master. So when I was doing my show, Mick can vouch for this. Anytime she came on the show, oh man, people were like, you need to keep Miranda on the show. And I'm like, she doesn't know how to do any of the stuff that I know how to do. Nope. We need
I got
Miranda
the show for you guys. You should take our old show. Mary and I had a show called Married Movie Challenge.
Oh,
If you guys want to do it, please feel free.
take it.
What we would do is we would each have our names in a or no, we did a wheel where whoever picks, like a coin flip. So if Mary picked, she would pick a terrible movie, right? For us, she picked From Justin to Kelly on one episode, and we watched it, and we had to review it. She picked The Room. I picked Jaws 4. Like, we went like kind of all over with it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to get the perspectives of each. But I don't know.
Sometime when Tim's on the show again, he has to tell the story about going to see the Britney Spears movie.
Fuck yes, I'm in.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to hug my wife and watch TV with her. I gotta go, but I will.
Sturdy,
Bye,
thanks for
guys.
having me on the show.
Of course. Yes, we're gonna wrap this one up. I'm gonna climb a ladder and look through Mick's window while he's hugging his wife. You guys have a great night. I'll see you in your nightmares. Peace.